instead of it being a threesome, it's a twosome.
Why? Why would you even say something?
It's like a date, you know? You're sitting on one end, I'm sitting on the other end. It's kind of true, is it not? I'm dressed up, you're dressed up, we're ready to
I'd
go.
rather Peas and I be the date.
So I'm the third wheel?
Yeah, exactly.
Am I the front wheel or the side wheel of the trestle?
Anyway, let's go.
Welcome to the Sack Exchange. This is now week 10. We're already here. 10 weeks of long. Well, 9 weeks officially.
We're going into week 10. This is
our
the 10th podcast.
No, this is our 9th episode, is it not?
Well,
He
I
can't
wasn't
count.
here for 2.
That's true. Marty was in the Alberta Rockies selling cookies.
Yeah, that's where I was.
So,
You know what's funny is Jordan McLaren came up to me and asked me how my trip was, and he was serious. I'm not even kidding. He actually thought I was in the Rockies.
Concordia's finest right there. Jordan McLaren. All right, let's talk about some of the games here. We'll go with the first one, probably the best game of the week in terms of the excitement. 6 plus our upending Monstars, 37-25. Fred Vienne, 6 TDs. Rod Mashtub, 4 TDs, 2 INTs. Vienne brother had a pretty good game himself as he had 3 TDs and Jadariti 10 catches. Monsters are 1-2-2 in the last 5 games. What is wrong with this football team? They're losing to teams, barely tying teams, and barely winning games in general.
I don't really know what's up with them, but this is not the time to start losing or falling off the horse because it's playoff time. Step it up. I think it's a Reedy. Ryan had a big impact all season. He's not rushing. He's not playing receiver. Mashtub or whatever you say, Eagle.
Or Rod Mashtub.
Has to figure out other receivers, and I mean Ryan was hitting 100 yards a game for a couple games there. It's frustrating for a quarterback when you lose your best receiver.
It is, but it's weird because they barely beat lightweighters on the last play when Marco Masiocco was playing for them. So they could easily be 0-3-2 as opposed to 1-2-2 in their last 5 games. I mean, now they're 5-2-2. They're going to be locked in more or less as the 3 seed in their division. And
I think they're going to be locked in as 4 seed. No
4
matter
seed,
what.
yeah.
4 seed no matter
they
what.
Probably will play
The 5 seed.
Yeah, which could be the Predators or the or the Bearskins for that matter, or even Brocasian.
It could be
Who knows?
Brocasian too. But
So many variables we have to look at here, but I just think right now it's like they get down the field, they march down the field, and they just can't finish off a drive or two, like the Frank LeBeau syndrome we talked about.
Yeah.
Frank not closing
Or
down
Tony
drives.
Tibet.
Oh yeah, Tony Tibet as well.
Yeah.
And it could hurt them in the playoffs. I mean,
it's going to hurt them. That's for sure.
but it could build their morale. Saying, look, can we close it now in the playoffs as opposed to week 7, 8, 9, and 10?
To be honest with you, I think that the Monsters' only chance right now to even go deep into the playoffs is if Ryan comes back healthy.
And
Even
it's
if
debatable
he's
right now.
even if he's 75%, 80%, he's got to come back. He's got
But if he comes back, what do you do with him? Receiver only, no rushing? Or-
exactly. That's what I would do. He's more. Also, depending on who they play, though, if they're playing Brocasian, if they're playing Brocasian, you'd need Ryan rushing because of Phil.
So what do? Do you go situational rushes where you go, hey, Ryan, we need you for third and
Third down, third and
fourth
shorts.
down.
Yeah, for sure. You'd have to do something, but I think he needs to come back no matter what. So Ryan, sack up and get back on that field.
6 plus R. Do they have? I was gonna say ice vien, but ice veins. Forget it. Play the word.
Got it. Nice.
Yeah. Okay. Cool.
Not funny again.
Thank you, Eagle.
Adam.
Were you coming back from a McDonald's party wearing your purple shirt?
I actually had
Grimace?
McDonald's cake earlier the week. I swear to God, that's actually true.
We should do like a fashion segment with the Eagle. Red, purple. Anyway, 6 plus R ice veins, and the fact that they
Ice
play
veins
so
in their veins.
Well, no, I was going to say that. So many close games, and they come out on top here. Is this something that you can say, hey, I have more confidence in them going into the playoffs?
Absolutely.
They can win these close ones?
Oh yeah, it doesn't matter. Like I've been saying it all year. A win is a win. Even if you win by 1 point, it doesn't matter. You're pulling it out. You're winning. Whereas in Monstars, can't.
So you say the trending of the arrows is going the opposite direction for both these teams
Exactly. Yes.
right now? I look at...
Show me again.
Opposite
Okay.
directions.
Okay.
No, or I can go like this. Or whatever you want.
All right.
I'm just saying right now.
All right.
I think for 6 plus R, they're so talented. I think Justin Blanchard makes a big difference for them.
Huge.
And you see it on the football field. I mean, I think he's single-handedly has won Fred Vienne probably quarterback of the year.
Yeah. Yeah, I was looking at those stats. Yeah, he's pretty much running away with it.
Yeah, he is, and I think for the trending aspect of it, when you see 6+R, and my only question about this team is that to go back winter season 2015, they lost to Ryan Reedy's team in Division 3, I believe it was at the time.
That's just all the more reason for them to smash them if they play them in the playoffs this year.
Well, if they do hit the collision course,
Well, I don't think they will. If Ryan doesn't come back, I see Monstars being ousted in the first round.
so with Reedy, they are
they're
well above
dangerous.
average.
Oh, absolutely.
But without Reedy, they're just average.
Exactly.
Okay.
Hey, you read my mind.
Hey, that's how we do out here.
No.
Darksiders win another big one over the Preds, 41-34. Fred Morissette, 6 TDs, 1 INT. You look at James Floriani, 5 TDs, 1 INT. Mr. Lapointe had 3 TD catches, fantastic highlight grabs. A 2019 halftime lead. Did the Preds choke away this game?
Was it 28-19?
Yeah,
right?
28-19.
Absolutely choked away this game.
It's a 2-score lead.
Yeah, it's a 2-score lead, and all you need to do is have time management with the ball. Where I could see where Pease's hatred of J-Flow comes along.
Oh, you should have seen the trash talking.
Was it?
It was phenomenal trash talking.
With Pease?
Peasy on the sidelines in the end zone is trash talking James Floriani when he got sacked.
I love it. It doesn't surprise me though. Where is Pease? Can this guy show up?
He's probably celebrating right now. He's probably playing the parade route along Bombardier
He
Boulevard.
actually put a picture of him and his brother on Facebook. It's fantastic.
I didn't see it yet.
It's California Raisins. One of the when they're how old?
There must have been, what,
7, 8?
7, 5, something like that. Yeah, somewhere in that range. Because I think they're about 2 years apart, right? So somewhere like that.
No, it's
They're probably twins that were born different.
they're on a
years.
rock and Duke has his leg up and Pease is in the background smiling like a nerd. It's great.
They're wearing Beetlejuice pants.
Beetlejuice pants. Oh, it's
Are these
honest-
Zubaz pants?
They're like Memsy Hammer pants.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
man.
yeah.
Parachute pants, man. It is absolutely.
You're not going to give us any examples of the smack talk? Nothing?
Yeah,
PG?
give me something.
Well, for example, John Larissis had a phenomenal game, 2 ways, rushing Floriani. So he sacks Floriani, right? And Floriani gets up, whatever. He's like, okay. And then Larissis gives him the flag. But it goes on the ground, right? And then all you see is Floriani go, ref, you see this? And then Peasy's like, James, you can pick up the flag yourself, man. You're not on the ground anymore. Get up and play football.
that is Peasy trash talk right there.
Peasy's trash talk is just being observational.
yeah. He sees it. He correlates it to something else.
And he's very what's the word? What's the word when you can speak properly? Because I can't right now.
He articulates well.
Articulates. That's the word. Yeah, he's articulate.
He is a cunning linguist.
Look, I think they choked the game away. For Prez to get 6 points, so whatever they got in the second half, 6 points.
Yeah, it's horrible.
It's phenomenal because that means it's 2 weeks in a row that the Darksiders have held their opponent to 12 points in the second half in total.
It's fantastic. That's the way to close out games. Take notes, Monstars.
You can definitely take notes. So given the roster, the talented roster on the Preds team here, I mean, I think they've underachieved this year.
Yeah, but we've said it since the beginning that they're just
in time.
his hatred of J-Flow as he arrives.
Yeah, well, that's
The trash talker himself arrives,
Here he is.
dancing.
It fucking hurt.
It's just
I came through this on and I was like, nice. This is the week I wore my FPF t-shirt.
you know we're on air, but whatever.
It wouldn't matter. It wouldn't change my behavior.
But like GM said it last week, it's not just Floriani. It's his defense.
The
It's
team is not good. It's a lot of.
You can talk to the mic.
can
if
talk
you
to the
want,
mic.
please.
Sorry.
say it again.
Welcome, PZ Delarizi.
How's it going?
Well, your thoughts on your well-earned victory?
We heard about
over-
your trash talk. It was
No,
fantastic.
of course, I'm just kidding and playing my role.
You're really bad at sports.
Like you really suck.
Honestly, it's all on James. Just kidding before, but honestly, the thing is that he had a chance. He had us on the ropes early. We're down
9.
20, was it 20,
28,
28 to 12?
28-12,
12.
and then you guys scored the late touchdowns.
Yeah.
28-19 and a half.
And so 2019 and a half, but 2012 really with 3 plays left, and like there was mishaps on the defensive side where they knew a play was coming, And yet, still, it would beat them. Like we heard him calling out the routes, and his play still beat them. And then on offense, James, you got to score in the second half, dude. And we talked about after the game. He knows it's on him. He knows this game was.
Was
on
he
him.
chucking it up deep? And
No, just he looked tense. Like there was one stop we made on 4th and inches, and another one on like a 4th and 3. And those should be automatic conversions in FPF.
Yep.
At this level of play, it has to be.
yep.
So the question is, Dark Stars, are they the best defense in Division B?
Yes,
2
absolutely.
points allowed.
Pease is not on the defense, so yes, they are.
Well, he's rushed. He rushed last
I have
week.
2 interceptions in my career.
Yeah.
So
He rushed.
Div and Div 8.
yeah, about.
He rushed though. He's like a glorified run stopper. You know,
That's true.
red zone rusher over here. You know, playing in the middle of the.
I don't see it.
Neither do I.
I think they are the best defense.
Absolutely
I
they
saw
are.
from a long time ago, as PG knows.
Yeah.
Have you seen Conference A, by the way?
I have.
The whole division is in the negative.
Except for one team.
No.
Now it's all.
They're all
Oh,
negative.
it's all officially okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're all negative.
Yeah.
It's fantastic.
It's pretty terrible.
So we can say that the semifinal is going to be all Conference B? I would say so.
How funny would it be if it was all Conference A? And here is how we never thought of.
into the semifinal, I think there still
might
might
be
be an
some
A
conflict.
versus there's an
Depends
A
on what
versus A matchup happening because
Depends on what happened this week.
the second seed guaranteed is going to be either Brocasian or Bearskins. So
Yeah.
there's
Yeah,
going
but
to
I'm saying a
be.
semifinal.
Yeah, but I'm saying that most likely they'll play another team from A at the bottom. of the
Yeah,
bracket.
they would have a
cares?
chance.
Yeah,
It's for occasion.
that's true.
If they have a bad week, it's over. They're gone.
DA recap: Corey Pecker's back, but looked rusty. Are the
Probably
Legends
hung over.
Well, he lost a lot of weight, Corey Pecker.
Did he?
Yeah.
I haven't seen him because he hasn't been there.
Should they be really concerned as they enter the playoffs?
Absolutely. Well, I spoke to Tony Corey. He said that it sucks that they have to play the Rainmakers this week because the Legends are the worst team in the division.
Yeah.
That's a good
Well,
one. I'll give
it's-
Corey that one. I'll give Tony Corey that one.
Yeah, that was his quote.
I mean, I can see that. I can see where they're coming from, but it's two teams that are struggling, right? So you're going to expect.
Yeah,
You
but
know.
I mean, they have players in and out every week. They have Jeff Rosenblatt or whatever playing randomly. They don't.
If
they don't
Rosenblatt's
care.
playing quarterback, you know it's not the same team.
It's not, but he does well.
I think mentally
still-
they've kind of mailed it in.
Oh, yeah.
It's sort of evident on the field. I mean, you should see the roster. If anyone goes to the Flag Plus website, Legends roster, it's like a 45-man roster that they've had.
Yeah, I'll be surprised if Corey shows up for the semifinal.
I don't know. I think he's a man who's competitive. He will show up, but I just don't know if they can go.
Toe to toe with whoever they play.
Yeah, if it's the
Well, it'll be Rainmakers or Maniacs.
Maniacs. Probably Maniacs, according to Tony Corey.
Oh, there's more. Don't worry.
We'll have more about that.
We'll have more.
The question for you: what is the best lineup for R&D? Watching you guys play, a little bit of a struggle,
At times,
At
but we
times.
play down to our competition.
right? But I'm
That's
looking
winner
at,
speak right there.
right, exactly. Muhammad Ali over here. I'm watching the Office defense. I just can't figure out what is the best combination lineup for you guys to go with come late July.
Offensively or defensively?
Both. I think. Well, defense.
I think
it's a little
defensively
more
we're okay.
figured, right? I mean, that guy McLaren had a pretty good game. Not too bad. But
4 PDs, I think.
well, offensively speaking, here, I mean, what is the best lineup? I mean, there's different weapons. We can agree upon that. There's Theo who can stretch the field. Jamal Gibbs can do the exact same thing. Paslakis is a possession guy.
What we do is we actually we shift in, right? So we try to give as many guys playing time as possible, but come playoff time, it'll be the big names that are going to come on the field more than the other
So
ones.
essentially, what he's saying, Bees, is that Kerouac will become a glorified cheerleader.
Well, I'm the snapper, so I will always be on the field.
Well, especially after the injury.
After the injury at Como, I literally don't get off the field unless I choose, which makes me tired.
Also, one person at this table is a Hall of Fame rusher.
Yes, thank you. Finest they win with the 6-man roster.
It was 6-man.
It was 6-man roster. I just don't know who the hell's showing up for this team come playoffs. I think everyone shows up, but Nate Taylor wasn't there for the second week in a row. Rashi Benaltikita was not there. Mike Harrington, due to coaching commitments at the U18 Canada Cup, was not there. He may not be there Monday, depending on what happens.
They're playing Glads. Woo!
Yeah, well, I mean, look, it's locked in.
But they're playing. Look, if
locked
if we win this week, which we should,
Yeah.
no matter what, they're playing Glads back-to-back weeks.
And
Yeah,
I'm glad
that-
they're known to beat number 1 and number 2 teams.
Yeah.
But I'd say Glads.
Unofficially, that is.
Glads might take it easy this week and pour it all out in 2 weeks. I don't know.
Well, it might go vanilla, right? And
I don't know what that means.
see what happens. Well, come up next, we'll talk about some key matchups. The conundrum that has occurred with Division A, Rainmakers Maniacs, win and you're in. And Division B, what the hell's going on with the 4 teams looking for 2 playoff spots? Simon Dajik tried to explain to me. I'll tell you what he said. I was still confused by what he said.
I still am trying to figure out what he's.
I
what he
never
says.
listened to him.
I know you don't. Neither do I. Stay tuned. This is the Sack Exchange. Calling the Audible has been brought to you by the English Montreal School Board's DEAL program. Distance education for all learners will allow you to obtain your high school diploma or prerequisites for SageUp or vocational studies from the comfort of your own home. It's never too late to go back to school. Learn anywhere at your own pace and get your diploma. Call 514-788-5937 for information or visit www.distanted.ca for more details.
Are we on?
Yes,
Are we live?
Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Welcome back to the Sack Exchange. PZFPF, Eagle FPF, Matty Kerouac at Mocha19 here in the Sportier Cage, which will be the site of the press conference on August 6th. Am I correct? Or are you at your wedding shower? What do you have on? What does he have?
His
again?
golden shower.
Yeah. His R&D baby shower he's having, right?
Hey, you're. Anyway, it's fine.
Is that what you're having? Are we not invited to the baby shower? You know, the boys?
I'm not invited to your golden shower.
No, Mokan. I'm not allowing you to rear my child.
I will raise your child in your absence. When you're out on those
Thank you,
rail
please.
trips, I will
Thank
raise
you,
your child.
Well, if you're in the cage, we'll be in the cage for the August.
Wow. Butchered.
Last week I said when cage is cage, cage is cage.
August
So-
6th is the press conference here, and so unless he's at his whatever.
No, August 6th is fine.
Well, unless the baby's born, and I don't know. When's the due date?
September 29th.
Oh, 2 days after my birthday. That's awesome. Maybe the
It's the
27th.
worst. We're going to push it.
You should call your child Mokan.
Moesha gone.
Moesha, yeah, it's a girl.
Exactly.
Don't you have a sister,
Moesha
bro?
Khan?
Either way.
Sorry?
Don't
What-
define gender roles, Matt
What's your sister's
Kerouac.
name? You can name it after her.
No, it's fine. All right, it's time to talk about Rainmakers Maniacs. We've seen this team from start to finish. Which defense do you trust more? I don't know which one to trust in this situation. Both have 3
If I
sacks
really have to
each.
choose, I'm going Maniacs, just for their aggressive nature. And it feels
Physically
like
or verbally?
everything. Just Rainmakers, I feel like they are taking naps on the sidelines before they come on to play. It's too nonchalant for me. I
but
like.
I just think
I'm
the
high strung. Remember?
Yeah, but
Or
I think
high motor.
that the Maniacs are just that type of team that has that brain fart where
I think it's offensively that they brain far more than anything. Where I
even
said
on
Rafa
defense,
chucks
though,
it up.
yeah, but there's times where there's like 8 guys open. There's 6 guys in the field, but there's like 8 guys open.
Two
because-
referees don't count. You cannot throw to the Mokan.
I know, but
I know I've been wide open and I'm not that good of a receiver.
I know you're not. But the point is, we have a pretty good vertical, 18-inch vertical of yours.
I don't know what you're talking about right now.
But I look at the Maniacs defense, it's like someone's wide open. And the classic example was versus the Glass this week, where it was blown coverage after blown coverage. Pat Jerome open by like 20 yards. Nick Gimier, who isn't the speed burner, is open by 50 yards. And it's like guys don't know whose roles what on the defensive field. So I just think the Rainmakers have that edge going into this matchup.
But then again, they've played us and played pretty shut down defense for the first half and then screw it up in the second, but it's not the point. They did play very good defense first half against us. They were up at halftime.
Right.
Or close to it, I think.
Puzzles, your thoughts?
Can I say that basically whoever has the ball last will win the game because I don't think any defense will
That's I think that's a little bit of a cautious tale because remember, Rainmakers, as he made the point before, Ryan Castor's like Matt Shaw with the pick sixes. And knowing Rafa Balaji, he might throw the ball into the net as opposed to the open receiver.
Well, Tony Corey said that Mark Messier's game guarantee that they're going to win has nothing on him. He made a little picture I'm not going to show.
Can I? You show me the picture. Can I explain something?
It doesn't make sense.
It doesn't make sense first and foremost. Okay, Peasy. He put 4 pictures. Okay, he put Joe Namath in a Rams uniform. He won it with the Jets.
Yeah.
He put Muhammad Ali. Okay, fine. He puts
also in a Rams uniform.
Yeah, probably. He puts a Mark Messier picture in a Canucks uniform when
Obviously.
he made the prediction with the Rangers in 1994. And last but not least, he puts his own face next to the
I've learned one thing. He has way too much time on his hands.
He does.
Yeah, but I asked him for it.
Oh, in that case, then yes.
Yeah, no, it's fine.
I still would have said, yeah, I'll do it, and then never done
And then
it.
he said that, you know what's better than beating a team with one Hall of Famer? Beating a team with 2. That was his trash talk
well
for
said.
the day.
That's fair.
It's better than yours.
You're not very good at football, Matt Kerouac.
Pick your butt up off the field, Floriani.
How about you stop looking this way?
More likely to happen? Ryan Castor pick 6 for what he does, or J.R. Verget getting offensive pass interference?
Can I say they're both going to happen?
Okay, what's more likely to happen?
But I'm saying they're both going to happen. They're both likely to happen. I think they will both happen.
So they'll happen.
So let's say first. I'll say...
So they're equally likely to happen.
I'll say Cashner will throw a pick 6 first, and then JR will get tackled somehow late the next play and then throw the ball.
Hey, ref, you kidding me? It was not a OPI. Anyway, each team has 3 sacks, their totals this year. You're a sack artist yourself. Could the pass rush have an influence in this game?
It should, but neither team has a rusher. But Rainmakers change rushers every 3 plays.
Even Ryan
Kastner rushes, Michael Berg rushes, and I don't even know who rushes. Did they even have a rusher? Did they even rush?
Dan Dees is his name.
Dan Dees.
Dan Dees. That's DANDEEZ. Dan Dees is what I was been told.
Dees is right there.
That's Del Rocca. Shooting hoops.
He's basketballing.
Bigger game required from who? Michael Chidiat or Godfrey Abu?
Godfrey. I think that Rainmakers have more weapons, and the only 2 real weapons on the Maniacs are JR and Godfrey. So he's got to step up both ways.
Well, they have weapons. It's JR, and JR.
It would seem that that's the only weapon that they
Yes,
like to use.
That's what they have. Peas?
I like Chidiat. Honestly, the games where he's been playing out of his mind, they just look so much better. Just honestly, I think he has the entire balance of the game on his shoulders. If he plays well, it's a win.
The Division B race, the remaining playoff spots. I'm still confused by this.
I tried figuring it
Yeah,
out.
I
Marco
can't-
asked me.
I can't.
All I
figure
know
it out.
is lightweight lose. With a Raider loss, they still get in, but as the 8th seed. Lightweight gets in as the 8th seed. A lightweight loss with a Raiders win. Lightweight are out.
And just so everyone knows, it's currently displayed on the screen for the current standings. If you want to see them at any point in time, there's a link on the Facebook wall to access
So essentially, Wolverines, Raiders, lightweights, and Simon Dagenet was trying to explain to me that Brocasian falls into the category of the Lou. I'm like, what?
No, they don't. They're 3 and the teams that are battling are 3 and 6, and Brocasian are 5 and 4. So they're in. Yeah, they've clinched. It's between Wolverines, lightweight, and Raiders. And like I just explained, if Wolverines win, no matter what, if Wolverines lose, they still have a chance of being in, and sort of lightweight.
So Raiders hammer the Wolverines. There was no competition last week. Rob White had like a career day. Like he had 2 TDs, a sack, and an INT. He was like Darrell Reeves out there. Who are you buying, by the way?
Well, I think that Wolverines are going to run over lightweight, and then it's really going to depend on the Raiders game, but they have a tough battle in front of them.
All right, Puzzles, who are you buying?
I kind of agree. I think the Wolverines will win their game. So that'll solidify their spot. As for the Raiders game, they face off against Monsters this week. Monsters have a lot to prove. I know they've already clinched or whatever, and they're pretty much going to be either the 4 or the 5 most likely. So I think that they just have more to prove in that they don't want to go into the playoffs ass backwards, because right now.
But that's where they're headed right now.
That is where
and
they're
I
headed.
think that if Raiders can pull out this win, I'm going to call them as their name when they won the championship a couple years back, the Darksiders.
With Leon Holden.
Number 2.
We have a tweet in from Simon Dagenet at Dagenet FPF saying,
You have to
Volcon
write-
19 making me look like a fool on the fact exchange on purpose, although I clarified myself. Classic Mo.
You see,
What's
Simon
every
Dagenet
week?
doesn't need help looking like a fool at any time.
That's
so
every
thanks for the tweet, Simon Dagenet.
Agreed.
I'm buying the Wolverines, but man, they look terrible against the Raiders. I know Tony Tabet was coming late from a Spalding football tournament he was at, but it's just like it's so dependent of Tony to be there.
The Kevin Wyatt syndrome,
No,
where
he
he's
coaches.
rotating his.
No, he coaches.
Was he throwing the ball to the kids and then
Maybe, yeah. You
my
know.
shoulder, guys.
Guys, I can't throw anymore. But, we agree the Wolverines will have the inside track. But of the potential teams that could make it, does any of them have a chance to do damage in the playoffs?
No.
I think the Wolverines will take the 7th seed, and I think they will upset the 2nd seed, and that's where it'll end. And then we'll have an all-div B.
Caucasian or Bearskins.
So
Exactly.
none of these teams will scare
Yes.
the power squads of Division.
No.
No.
So Conference A is
I think
winning.
Wolverines could. A mild murmur.
If they, yeah, not this season.
No, and honestly, there's so much athleticism on all of the top teams that I don't think that this is their season to compete. Minus myself, obviously.
Well, no, Peasy,
i.e.
you're part of the Dark Side Nation, my friend.
A very good recruiter. I'm the Nick Saban of Darksiders.
Athleticism is with your mouth as you talk trash to everyone
That's
else. That's his. He's a 5-star athlete, man.
It's true. Honestly, I did have a lot to say to James Complaining Annie as he complained to the referee.
Completely Annie.
Nice.
I think it's his haircut that he had. Looks
It
awful.
was pretty terrible.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it was a Mocon's hairstyle.
No, he didn't go to Mo concert.
Mokan, I have some questions for you.
Which we're getting to right now. It's 5 questions.
Push you through it. I know. Are you
5
ready?
questions. I am ready. We're doing a 5 questions here. We ask each other 5 questions, 1 through 5, 5 through 1,
Nice.
and we'll go. You go first.
Thank you.
Excellent.
Okay, Mo, we all know that your greatest FPF moment personally is when any team has let you play for a play or two.
Unless you pay as well.
Yes.
It doesn't matter in his mind.
Okay.
He didn't,
Yes.
right?
Fair.
But in the past, let's call it the Peas post black and white years, say the past 4 or 5 years.
So you're
what
saying
has
the
been
Peas era of
your
FPF?
favorite FPF moment? Not personally, that you've been around to see or...
Oh, God. I have witnessed a lot. I mean, I can't more catch the ball over your face. Oh, sorry. Did I say that loud?
over my face.
No, I'm kidding. No. You know what? The game that I will remember most is the spring finals. I think it was 2013, Rainmaker's Finest, which we broadcasted, and the finals were down, I think, 2 scores. And Kenmore caught a Hail Mary at the end of the half,
yeah.
right? And then
Yeah.
you were on that team, right? So
No,
you
I
know-
wasn't.
Okay, well, I wasn't on the team either. So anyway,
Neither was I.
Was it winter?
it was spring 2013.
Oh, no, I
I
was
think
on
I think you were on the team.
Oh, maybe. I just don't watch the
Was that the
I
year
didn't
that
play
he
offense.
through a pick six within the first few plays, and then he
Wyatt
got it back in
threw,
extra points?
Yeah, Wyatt threw it,
Yeah.
and Rainmakers controlled the game. Long story short, like I guess the Hail Mary touchdown. Next half, it went down to the last play. Rainmakers couldn't get that touchdown, and they ended up losing by 6 or 7 points, whatever it was. That was a great game.
Good.
Okay, here's my question for you. It's the Div A Spring Finals. You're driving on the Champlain Bridge. And on your right, you're going over the St. Lawrence River. You see Marco Masiotra and Theoja hanging by a thread off the ledge because he got into a car accident. Who are you saving to bring with you to Brossard for the
I'm
finals?
strong enough to save both.
No, you can't. You have to say one guy.
You're so fast because you're a rusher. See?
Yeah, gotcha. I gotta say, you're putting my friends' lives in my hands.
Well, you gotta save
on
one.
air.
Decide, Matt.
Decide right now.
Stop stalling.
That's cold.
Let's go. We don't have much time here. Let's go.
I'm
You could kill them both.
saving.
if
I'm
you
saving
want.
Theo because he's younger and he has more to live for.
Okay, cool. So you guys
He
are
has-
losing the Div A
Marco's lived
finals.
his life. Believe me.
I'm sure he has. Your question. Let's go.
Oh, yeah. All right. So you've worked with a lot of co-hosts here at
I have.
FPF.
I have.
If you had to choose one to pick to work with, who would it be and why? And not you. These.
I worked with
And
these.
why wouldn't you pick anybody else and the other ones?
One person I've worked with consistently in the last.
That's not what I'm asking.
No.
Basically,
Who do you
your favorite.
prefer?
Who's your favorite one to work with and why?
Oh, Eagle.
No, that's not a co-host.
Yes, it is.
He's
Oh,
never
is that-
been on air.
Yes, yeah. Oh,
Not his
okay,
face.
Watch. Listen. Oh, go ahead.
I didn't know what he looked like for like a good 2 years.
He's a co-host.
No.
Nobody wants to know what he looks like, to be
Anyway,
fair.
I exist. I'm a person.
Quiet. Don't
He's
talk
a
to him
bird.
like he's people.
He's a
He's
bird.
gonna think he's people.
I know. I'm picking Eagle, man. That's who I've worked with the
That
most.
was like the safest choice. All right, fine, go.
All right. You're a director for the next James Bond movie. Who you casting from the Division A or Division B to play Bond and to play the villain? I have my answer. I know who I'm going with.
I'm gonna go with Ryan Kastner as Bond.
No,
Okay.
Ken Moore makes the best Bond. Everyone knows that.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
has it been discussed?
I would be terrified.
I think he has discussed
Ken Moore.
Yeah, with
Ken
his-
Moore as Bond. Okay, I'll go with that.
Picture a tuxedo. It's nuts.
Yeah, yeah, and
Or quiche.
the villain.
the villain.
Oh, it's got to be Rafa.
Yeah.
Rafa.
I have.
You ever played the game 007 back in the day? I mean, Rafa's like a shorter guy. Odd Job.
Okay.
He's like the guy that you always pick because you're so short. You're not. He's not that short, but I'm just saying.
I could see Rushdie as like a side villain, you know, where he pulls like knives out of his hair or something.
as the second villain? Yeah.
And the
yeah.
Dinamo. Yeah.
Okay,
He's got the accent.
My hero would be Frank LeBeau.
Okay, but you're answering your own question.
I'm telling you, Frank LeBeau would be my Bond, and Paul Lapierre would be the villain. So
Are you telling us something between the lines?
Maybe
here?
I am. All right, let's
Okay.
go.
Why are you jealous of the finest?
I'm not.
No. This isn't a question where I'm not. Let's get into it. Let's have a moment here. Why are you jealous? Why do you have so much beef with the finest?
Not beef.
Every year, it's the worst roster you've ever seen.
No, this year's the worst
Every
roster.
year, it's you get mad at me about something because I took your place on the final. What's your
Never.
beef? Let's know.
Well, you never
give me a
call
good
my
reason.
sack record. Let's call it for one.
Your sack record.
Yeah.
Record.
Yeah.
What's your
record.
your
I
sack
lost
record?
count. No beef. I just think that, obviously people, I think the general consensus, and I think PZ would agree with this, that whichever team we play for, or teams we play for, if we're on the podcast, people will say, oh, you're a homer of your team. You'll never criticize your team. So I want to be,
Should you try to overdo it?
no.
No, I
overdo
think
it.
you're jealous.
I'm not jealous. I want to be out there and be fair. And
Didn't you make the Montreal Junior finest?
yes.
Doesn't that you missing something there?
No, not missing anything because it has no relation. Anyway, question number 3. You win the Division A title. What's the first thing you do with the trophy?
Marco's gonna steal it from my hands. So
So you say, it's all me? It's all me? It's all me?
pretty much. First thing I do, I give it to my team. I'm actually a team player. I would be happy because the last time I won a championship with these guys, these specific guys, was D-Boys when Gino, and we weren't even happy.
Oh, the black and white era of FPF.
Yeah, black and white era. Yeah,
I thought you would bring it on the Via Rail in this.
I could do that.
Yeah.
I could do that.
All right, your question. Let's go. We have 2 more. We got to make this quick.
I got this one, Matt. I got one
Oh,
from
you-
Mo.
oh, okay.
It's highly important and highly
Okay,
related
so this
to
is your
FPF.
4th question through PZ.
Mokan.
Yes.
We all know that you're somewhat the lady killer in
I
the dating game. So I want you to give our listeners your dating advice for those out there that are looking to be as successful at dating as Mokan.
Eagles.
If you want to kill a date real quick, say "I love you" in the first 2 minutes of your
have you
date.
done that? I
No.
feel as if you've done that.
Or pull a Trevor.
No,
from-
you've definitely
No,
I think he actually led with "I love you, mom" on a date.
oh, sorry, mom.
Sorry, yeah.
Sister. I mean,
But that's the best way to make friends because you say I love you and she goes
Yeah,
I
I love
think
you
we're
as a
more
friend.
like just friends.
Yeah.
And
Do
then
you
a friend.
do you go on a date with a bow tie?
no,
You must.
no, I don't.
You
No.
have to.
No. We should
It's your
coach the
thing.
Eagle. We should coach the Eagle with Erica 5, huh?
Erica 5.
We should. All right, here we go. Quickly, we'll end this off on a couple
Okay,
more
if you were
questions.
president for a day,
No.
which you'll never be, but
The most hated player, like the guy you hate the most in FPF is who?
I don't hate people. But peas. And I'll add it with, because I hate peas so much and he hates Floriani so much, yeah, why not?
All right, your last question.
It wasn't my last question. I said, if you were president for a day, which you will never be, but what would you change? And don't say it.
President of FPF.
Of FPF. Not
The immigration
States.
policy of the FPF world, have more internationals play in this league? No. If I had a chance, I would implement instant replay for the finals.
I knew you were going to say that. Actually,
no, but
you're boring.
no. Instant
something
replay,
interesting.
Instant replay for the finals.
Who's to say that's not going to happen?
Well, it's been talked, but it's never happened yet.
Okay. Boring.
Instant replay, man.
All right.
I would set up obstacles on the field,
I knew
like
you
blades and
would. I knew you
fire.
would be like Mario Kart with this guy.
Be awesome.
And your final question? Do you have one?
How many more years do you have left playing FPF, and what will you do once it's done? On a Saturday night, Sunday night, when you know you're at home with your little one and you're not playing flag football.
Little Mokan.
It could be Mokan's
Little Moesha
child.
Khan.
It could be Mokan's child. Who knows?
I don't know how many years I have left, to be honest. I'm going to go until I drop. Baby or Not.
Okay,
That's a song.
fair enough.
Okay,
It's-
now, Mo, I actually had another
oh
question.
no, your fifth was
No, it
his.
was not.
Yes, it was.
Why should FPF hire you back next season as a broadcaster?
Oh, you crazy man! The
I wanna know.
The minority viewership is through the roof.
I feel like you get made fun of more than you get praised.
That's the idea. I don't need to be right. I just have to be interesting.
No, we are interesting. You just asked the question.
No.
You're the comic relief.
No.
You're the one that when there's nothing to say, we
It's
attack
time for the
Mokan.
picks. Let's go to the picks, please.
All right.
Running
So
late.
this week, of course, as every week, we went to see. I'm stalling because once again I closed the script, getting ready for my show. All right. So the games of the week this week, we have Predators against 6+R, where 6+R is favored by 5.5 points. Will we see James Chokey Annie once more?
James Chokey, Complainy Annie. No, yeah, where he's gonna choke. It's 6+ R to cover.
I like 6+ R, but they won't cover.
All right. And what's the largest spread this weekend? The Monstars are favored over the potentially surging Raiders by 8.5 points.
Absolutely not. Raiders are winning
All right.
outright.
Again, you could take the points. You're not a very good gambler.
I'm
'cause
not.
It pays the same.
It doesn't matter.
All right,
Okay, fine.
depending on
I'll take the po-
Please
I'll
take the points. I'm
points.
begging you.
Depending on Leon's state of mind, I have the Monstars winning and covering.
He's in playoff mode, man.
Maybe.
All right.
I talked to him.
And perhaps the most surprising spread, and the first time we've ever seen Simon Dagenet in a non-underdog role. Lightweight takes on Wolverines, and Rudy himself favored for 3.5 points.
I think he's more like Junior Giants, actually.
I'll take the points.
Give me the Wolverines.
All right. Maniacs and Rainmakers face off, and Rainmakers are favored by a whopping 7.5 points.
Yeah. Hate to
You
say
shook
it.
your head the entire time, and then you like, yeah. That's exactly
Tony
what's gonna
Corey,
happen.
sorry, buddy. You're losing this week. And by the amount, the spread.
Yeah, agreed.
Stop.
Agreed.
No.
Well, Con makes it interesting.
I do. All right, what did you learn on today's episode?
I learned that there's a Peas era in FPF, and I am flattered.
All right, Eagle?
I learned that Mocon trying to taunt me into implementing instant replay for the finals. It's gonna happen now, by the way. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Is it really?
Probably.
You're welcome.
Most likely.
Maddie? Or
I
Marty?
learned something that I already knew, but I confirmed it tonight, that you are the most boring person in Montreal.
That's not what your girl said about me. I
He
learned.
said he's the second most boring person.
If my baby comes out half Indian,
Hey,
you're getting a phone call.
hey. Maury, here he comes.
Yeah, just a phone call.
Hey, Mo, it's yours.
You are not the father.
What did you learn today, Mo?
I learned that you would save Theo Jaya for the Div 8 final and leave Marco hanging.
Yeah, no, Marco
Seamless
knows.
River.
He's lived his life to the fullest. I think Theo.
Not really. He has not won a Div 8 title, so not really.
You can
And he
just
hasn't got
drive
the
to
Hall of Fame,
Brossard
right?
and
Yeah,
pick
you're
either
right.
one up.
True.
I'd actually
He would
hand
hate
him
that.
the Hall of Fame plaque and say bye.
Good
And
morning,
give him a
London.
kiss on the forehead.
Under my tutelage, you will grow from boys into men, from men into gladiators, and from gladiators into Swansons. Behold, the Swanson Pyramid of Greatness.
Super Flag Bros.
Super.
Division 6 Podcast.
It's a perfectly calibrated recipe for maximum personal achievement. Categories include capitalism, God's way of determining who is smart and who is poor.
These Delaries.
Crying, acceptable at funerals and the Grand Canyon. Rage, poise, property rights, fish, for sport only, not for meat. Fish meat is practically a vegetable.
And Peas Delaries.
Haircuts. There are 3 acceptable haircuts. High and tight, crew cut, buzz cut. Are the scissors broken in your house, son?
Welcome everyone, you're listening to and perhaps watching the Super Flag Bros, the only show featuring 2 brothers in a cage, outside the cage. Because remember, we're at the Sportera cage where, if it's in the game, it's in the cage. Mo Khan, our producer, is showing a picture that I can't decipher. It looks to be a forehead.
That's from the article on the website right now in Division E.
That means I need to write an article because there's no way we can be looking at that forehead forever.
That is correct.
MK, you're our producer, of course, and you could be tweeted at MoCon19, I believe.
That is correct.
The Eagle himself is a company man and therefore can be tweeted at EagleFPF. And to my right is my co-host and brother, Deez Delaries. Of course, he can be tweeted at Dave's Republic as well as
at the Cheesecake Factory.
at Cheesecake Factory.
At Pathbro's office.
Absolutely. And you know what? That's what I want to lead the show with, actually.
Really? Because we're going to end the show.
We're going to end the show probably with it as well. I have concerns about the passport office. This is the weirdest thing for me. So I went with company today, and if you go with someone, you can engage in conversation, you can talk, but you can't pick up the phone and call someone while you're waiting.
No, it's a prison camp.
Yeah, basically. Like I don't feel like being interred when I'm trying to get permission to enter another country where I might be interred depending on where I'm going.
I don't know what the word interred means.
Wait, hold on. You can't answer your phone in the passport
No,
office?
You can't talk on the phone.
You can't use your phone.
You can be texting?
You can't even eat. You can't even eat in the
You
office.
can't? Well, why would you eat in the passport office? It's not a
Oh,
restaurant.
man.
Dude,
I
whatever.
can't wait to get my
That's how you get
passport
ads.
renewed. I'm going to be tweeting, taking selfies.
Yeah,
That's
right?
fine,
Yeah.
but they don't mind you using your phone. They don't want you talking on the phone.
It's so dumb.
And they kick you out. They asked the dude to leave because he kept getting phone calls. And he kept just hanging up, but he kept getting them, and he wouldn't turn his ringer off. And they
To
asked
be
him
fair,
to
that
leave.
guy sounds like a douchebag.
He had a weird like Jerry curl thing
Yeah.
going, and like he was like awkwardly, I don't know, just
Simon Dagenet?
misplaced in time.
Yeah.
Like he had white khakis and an open shirt. And
What if you have like a headset or something? Would they let you talk on the phone?
no,
then?
because I had a headset last time. I was talking to my brother.
Yeah.
I was in the passport office recently, and another time other than today, for reasons that I believe my brother will get into
Yes,
later.
we will.
But I was talking to him, and they told me to get the phone. I said, well, what if he was standing next to me? Like, wouldn't that be okay?
No.
Anyway, that's enough.
Speaking of which,
We've all been there. We've all done that. Just like, unfortunately, they add another one to their lost column, something they've done with the past couple of weeks. Los Guapos take it to them, beating them down by a score of 36-6. Deez, what are your thoughts on this game?
it's kind of too bad for been there, done that. I feel like this kind of could have been like a statement game for them. Really a tough team to play late in the season, and a really good win for Los Guapos. Going like they're really hitting their stride, and they've been hitting their stride throughout the season. And you know, for Binder done that, it was an off day, a game for Sebastian Tadzif, probably a learning moment for him, throwing 4 interceptions in this game. You know, it's crazy, right? Because like you look at this league and you think about 4 interceptions, right? Like 4 interceptions is literally like half your possessions in a game, right? It's like for people that don't understand that. Why can't you just say it instead of making sign language?
Well, it makes it more distracting for
Right.
you. It
Okay,
keeps
okay,
you, keeps
right.
you
Well, no,
more-
it's
yeah.
not, apparently.
But what I'm saying is when I look at like the amount of possessions that we have in a game, right? Like how many possessions would you estimate is the average for an FPF team? Let's say just Division E, not for Division A.
Well, for Division E, I haven't done too many Division E games this
Right.
summer, but I would say roughly in a half. It would be max 4 possessions if it's bang bang.
Yeah, so it's like eight in all, right? Like throughout
give
the
or
game.
take. Yeah, if there's a pick 6, whatever it is.
Which is kind of crazy because if you think about like, so a possession would come out to how many minutes? Eagle, how many minutes is a possession if it's 8 possessions in a game?
You're looking at about, let's say, 6 minutes of possession.
That's pretty good math. On the spot at Eagle FPF.
Absolutely. Dylan Daou was on the spot in this game.
Are we talking? Yes, we are.
He was so far this season. He's 23 of 48, 385 yards, 9 touchdowns, 1 interception. In a team that started 4 quarterbacks and had a bit of bad luck, of course, with the injury to Terrence Dobson. Is this the answer?
It's pretty terrible.
This
Pretty
is the
terrible
last 2
injury,
games
right?
for
He tore his
for
Achilles.
Dallas.
He tore his Achilles. That's
Yeah.
a terrible injury to have.
Shout out to Terrence. Feel
Yeah.
good soon, man. Hope you're
And
hope you're feeling better.
it's definitely a tough injury. It's not like it's not like, let's say an
Mo Collins'
amputated
injury and his injured finger.
Mo Collins.
This is kept him in the sidelines for a while here.
It's not bad, man. Not bad. It healed well. But like in this,
really.
for Dylan specifically, like you could feel like after we spoke to him after the game, like you could tell that there's a lot of confidence that he's got. You know?
I really Dylan Daou was confident.
No, what is it?
We're gonna guess
In his last 2 games, this is what he's produced. Though he's played
Yeah.
quarterback the last 2 games, and his confidence is skyrocketing. I saw on the sidelines how he was tripping
Or
away.
you think an inanimate object is confident?
And,
Well,
and,
yeah, true.
I mean, not that Dylan Daou is inanimate, but rather a skyrocket.
and it's pretty impressive for a team like to lose a high caliber player and to still find their groove, right? And you know, like we all know how it goes, right? Like injuries in this league, like it kind of hits you mentally when an injury happens on field. Like when an injury, and we've been through that. We've seen one of our we had a marquee player on our team that went down towards
And
the end of the
close
season
friend as well.
and it completely devastated our season because it was almost like without that guy we couldn't. Is he still doing sign language? Enough with the sign
It was
language.
to me, though. It's okay.
I know, but I see the corner. So, but anyway, the way I see it is like I think it's a big win for Los Guapos because for them it's like regaining confidence in a sense, you know, like
Absolutely.
like losing a big time player but being able to go to show up against an adequate team. Like I'd been there, done that.
Sebastian Tardif, on the other side, he threw 1 touchdown, 4 interceptions. He struggled in the second half of the season. What do you attribute that struggle to?
Yeah, it's hard to say because I feel like that they're also playing really tough teams like down the stretch, like, and I think that Los Guapos definitely like being a really tough team to play. Like it's a meat grinder at the end of the season for them, and they have a chance next week playing against Royalty, like to have like it not to say it's an easy matchup, but you know. It's much more winnable. It's much more feasible for them to win than against a team like Los Guapos, who's coming in with a lot of confidence and definitely with a very confident team.
Absolutely, and another team that's been confident, it was confident this week, is the Tigers. They beat One Man Show 26-21, the best games of the week. We were there, of course, to see part of it. When you look at a game like this, are you like Jamil Greenidge with his two catches, 1 touchdown? Are you surprised that he hasn't been a bigger part of the offense, given the fact that we thought he'd be the marquee player this season?
But that being said, this is the same guy that also had an interception, like in a big time interception in a game.
That's what I mean. Like he really stepped up this game. But are you surprised he hasn't been like we haven't really talked about him? He hasn't been really the standout player that we thought he would.
Of course, it's surprising, but in a sense, like this is the kind of the time where he has to bring his A game in a sense, like towards the end of the season, where they absolutely need the wins and they absolutely need to kind of strengthen themselves and also help themselves in terms of where they're going to be seeded into the playoffs. So whether it's surprising or not, it's pretty awesome to see him like show up on both sides of the field for like, you know.
Yeah, and I mean he's had a pretty good season. He does have 8 touchdowns.
But why do you feel like what's your projection?
Well,
What was
having
your
seen
projection for
him a little bit last season, I thought that he was the kind of guy who come in and dominate.
But
the
like,
division.
but what was your projection preseason?
I thought 15, 16 touchdowns.
15, 16, yeah.
That's what I expect. I mean, look,
Like John Larissa's type of
yeah, exactly. 8 touchdowns is nothing to scoff at. It's a very good performance. But it just, again, just coming into the season, and that was my expectation. Maybe my expectations were a little bit high. A little bit about expectations. We'll talk about that in the Division D podcast later.
Just a
this
quick
evening.
stat line for the
Yeah,
Tigers.
tell us.
In games decided by 7 points or less, they're 2-3 this year.
Yeah, and that's, I mean, luckily they got the win in this one, and that's the kind of game you need to win in the playoffs.
But also, like, you know, we talk about Jamil, right? And that's kind of a guy that we foresaw like having a big season. For me personally, I feel like Danny Demore playing for Ole Miss, like I feel like he's kind of cooled down a little bit, you know, and.
Yeah, and he's been a guy who's dominated.
But he started off the season completely dominant, like
Yeah.
like leading the league in interceptions.
but
Still up there.
he's got 19 touchdowns.
No, he does. But in a sense, like this is a game where he has to show up, and he doesn't really, you know.
Yeah, and but that's the thing is, I feel like one man, and that's I'm a little bit surprised by the score just because this is a team in one man show. I feel like just because you shut down their main threat or one of their main threats, I think that they're deep enough to be competitive in the playoffs.
And let's keep in mind just for a second here, the results of this game have impacted playoff standings tremendously, right? I mean, if it had gone the other way, it would have been a completely different standings. Right now, you have some major ties we'll talk about later.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
it definitely changed the playoff picture.
And I, like here's my question about OMS. Like throughout the whole season, we brought up this question multiple times, like whether Jordan Bellemare is the man for the team, and if he's the guy to lead them towards to victory lane. Like, do you think that Jordan Bellemare is the guy? Because I think he is, and I don't think that the statistics really prove it. But at the same
At
time,
this moment, I don't.
no.
And it's, you know what, his stats are okay. He looks confident and he delivers a nice ball. But my concern is, if you're really that guy, you need to win games like this.
Right. Yes.
And that's what.
Against an inferior quarterback, against a team that kind of like a so-so team.
You're turning your head around like a crazy person.
If you want a mic tip, just go like this.
If you want Mike tip, talk into
like
it. It's
that.
cylinder. It looks like a robot penis.
I know. I can't
Talk
deal with
into it.
I'm kind of petrified by it.
Speaking of petrified.
Yes.
A game that had my eyes wishing they were actually petrified and turned
By monster
to
penises.
stone. No, not by monster penises, but just actually what the word petrified actually means. Look it up. Fuzzy Kittens beat TDs and Beer by a score of 18-12. We were there watching this game, and it was
A garbage
tough.
fire. It was a garbage fire.
Yeah, it was not enjoyable.
But let's look at the silver lining though. Like, let's not just trash teams. Like, these guys
look
are
at the
listening.
silver
And they
lining
don't want to
in a
hear.
game that saw 7 interceptions.
Yeah, it's pretty terrible.
And probably a dozen dropped interceptions, and just poor play. Like Miles Keeler, of course, not the starting quarterback, taking place for his brother.
But, yeah, okay,
25
yeah.
interceptions. But then, like, aside from it, on TDs and Beer, there's other than Isaiah Allard, who, again, had a great game. Brad Evans looked okay too, but like for the most part, we just saw so many drop passes, so many poorly run routes. Fuzzy Kittens, we turned to them, and Jean-Robert Chartrand threw only 2 interceptions, but
Yeah.
there were countless times where that ball could have easily been intercepted again.
Here's my issue. Here's my issue with in terms of like game plan wise. Like for me, like when I was watching that game, I understood that this was a backup quarterback. I understood that not a backup quarterback. I understood
not
this
the
was
typical
this
starter.
wasn't the starter, right? But you have a guy in Isaiah Allard that okay, like he's a physically imposing player. He's the kind of guy that can kind of catch anything that's kind of in his anywhere around him, right?
Throw high.
But my thing is watching that game. Like a lot of the interceptions were kind of needless. So, like there was no need for it. Like there were a lot of plays that were a lot of the interceptions were deep passes. A quarterback that doesn't really know how to throw a deep pass, and you have an excellent athlete on your team that you can center your offense around. Like, and we watched this game and it's just like he has open routes, and for some reason it seemed like the plays were all dedicated towards like throwing it deep or focusing on verticality, and like you have like an excellent guy to get yards with, and like if you're in a situation where you have a quarterback that hasn't started a game. You have a guy that basically doesn't have the confidence and he's new to it. Why are you throwing deep every play? And and we saw it. We're in
And it's a game that's
situations where
close
it was
as
like
well.
1st and 10.
And it's a game that's close as well. Like
Yeah,
you
it
don't
was
need,
close.
You don't need to challenge. And a lot of times, what I saw looking at Fuzzy Kittens is they were dropping coverage early.
Yeah.
And really allowing the underneath pass.
And that being said, we do have to give a lot to Fuzzy Kittens because this is I hate seeing that name of that team, right? Like I can't take them seriously, but in a sense like this is a team like they go out there with their pink jerseys and you look at them, you're like you can't really take them too seriously, right?
Yeah.
But they went out there and they showed up. Like it's almost like they knew, like they were thirsty for the ball. Like,
They needed that win to keep themselves in playoff
Right.
contention, and they did exactly what they needed to
Totally.
do.
And
then-
as ugly as it possibly would have
Yeah.
looked.
And just food for thought here, Isaiah Allard this year, 43 catches, 18 TDs.
Yeah.
The rest of the team has 59 catches and 9 TDs.
But it's almost Mo. It's almost like no one told the guy like just throw to this guy, just throw to him. Like everybody else, like forget about everybody else. Like this guy has 18 touchdowns. Why isn't he getting more play?
Yeah, and what are your thoughts? I mean, we'll get into more depth after break about the playoff standings. But what are your thoughts about Fuzzy Kittens if they do manage to get to the playoffs? Do you think they can compete?
It's hard to say because this kind of a game was kind of a gimme in a sense because it was almost like the quarterback was throwing two fuzzy kittens. But that being said, I saw a lot of fight. I saw a team that was really confident. I saw a group of guys that it's almost like their record didn't matter. And it's cool to see towards the end of the season because we're used to teams having covered lower division like this in previous seasons. We're used to seeing teams at this stage giving up completely. And what we saw was a team that just didn't really care. They were facing off a team with it's almost like they didn't know that this was going to be a game where there was going to be a backup quarterback. Like they were hungry for the ball. Hey, look, this was far from perfect performance on their behalf. But at the same time, I was surprised to see that. And it wasn't just about their defense. 18 points, you can never win a game with 18 points. But in this sense, they just put enough on the table to lead them towards victory.
Absolutely. And when we come back, we'll take a look at Fuzzykins as well as some of the other teams, see where they stack up in playoff rankings and what we think will happen moving forward.
I'm going to get Division E out.
Calling the Audible has been brought to you by the English Montreal School Board's DEAL program. Distance education for all learners will allow you to obtain your high school diploma or prerequisites for CEGEP or vocational studies from the comfort of your own home. It's never too late to go back to school. Learn anywhere at your own pace and get your diploma. Call 514-788-5937 for information or visit www.distanted.ca for more details.
Yeah.
Welcome, everyone. And while GM Coletres walks in and discusses off camera, of course, who will win in a fight between himself and Ronda Rousey. Ronda Rousey.
I think she would fall in love first. I think she would fall in love.
You wouldn't have to lose on purpose. I, of course, am Pease Del Rees, your host for Super Flag Bros. I am joined in studio by my co-host and brother, Dees Del Rees. This is, of course, Super Flag Bros, hosted in Sportira Cage, where if it's in the game, it's in the cage.
Awesome.
Our technical director is the Eagle Eye Master Control. He's the one reason the show gets on the air every week. So if you see him, shake his hand, buy him a milkshake, and then turn away as quickly as possible.
He's very clammy. He's very
also,
clammy.
drink the milkshake that you bought him. To my left is the producer of the show, Mokan. You can, of course, tweet him or tweet the show live by tweeting at Mokan19.
Hashtag
Mokan is
buttoned up.
not a company man.
Hashtag buttoned up.
No.
Yeah. He's buttoned up, but his personality is buttoned down.
I'm like Stone Cold Steve Austin at FPF.
I'm kind of shocked today because Eagle at FPF is open shirt and Mo is cold shirt. So I gotta say I have a weird boner going on.
And he's wearing shorts and not sweatpants. I honestly thought someone killed Mokan and
No,
replaced
I
him
had
with
a
an identical
broadcast.
person.
Hey, you guys actually,
Someone killed Eagle and replaced him with a fabulous cowboy.
you look like you look like you're both gonna break out into an adult film, like either together or like in different scenes, but it'll work.
You know my soundboard has clips for that, right?
Nice. I'm hoping.
Do you guys think that no one listens to us because there's too many inside jokes?
There's no inside joke.
There's
think so?
none.
I think they would look great in porn.
Darren,
That's the joke.
Can we call it Darren Does Debbie?
Darren does Darren. The loneliest porn ever.
No, that's an inside joke, you guys.
Yes,
don't get.
that is. No one knows who
Darren
Darren is.
Bazmanchan is.
No one in Division E knows who Darren
Darren
Bazmanchan is.
Bazmanchan was acting president for a couple of weeks and kind of by de facto vice president of FPF and the loneliest man on the planet.
And now he's being investigated by Charbonneau Commission.
He is for his loneliness. Two teams feel lonely because they're being left out of the playoff picture. They're the kids who are not getting chosen to play dodgeball. We have the Fat and the Furious and Mile Public House.
Don't you feel bad for Fast and Furious? Like I feel like they kind of hit a stride this week. Like they actually won a game, right?
Yeah.
And I think it was against I can't remember, but it was against God. Falcons.
It was against Falcons.
I know. God damn, I should be fired. They played the Falcons.
First time Fat and Furious ever had a full roster.
Okay, so they beat the Falcons, and it was the first time that they had a full-time roster. That's actually from my knowledge, not from
So
Jim
given the
Blackman's.
name Fat and the Furious and knowing that they had a full roster, can we say the field was tilted in their favor?
Oh God.
Wow, that was rough. Yeah, so no, absolutely, it's great for them to get their first win. GM, any thoughts on that game?
Well, it was really, really refreshing to see them actually field that full roster to begin with. But picking up higher division players, Huey Isaac, Keenan Allen. Allen put impressive pressure on the Falcons QB, forcing bad throws, turnover on downs, interceptions. They're just a whole new team. And honestly, if we saw this team week in, week out for the Fat and the Furious, they would be a mid to top tier seed. I would say a 3 or 4
Well, I mean, we
seed.
could say that about any team that sucks and that brings in like top tier players. Like,
Well,
I think-
PJ Bellick was the quarterback, and in fact, he only had one player that had catches. It was Jonathan Garfinkel, 3 catches for 57 yards.
who's been having a pretty amazing season
So
actually.
3 total completions.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like, oh, like in a sense, okay, we know that it's not their full time team, but I think it's kind of cool for them to win a game towards the end of the season. I mean, like no one wants to go this season without any kind of momentum, because we don't want that, because then a lot of teams drop out. Like,
Which, I mean, like, don't. Because you'll get better. It's fast. We've talked about it on almost every podcast. The turnaround is quick. You'll get better. Punch Panda.
Oh my God.
That's the famous FPF story where the first team we played with got better the next season, so on and so forth.
But the first season we were terrible.
we're 0-9-1.
We lost every game, and we had to cut half our team.
Of the 4 of us combined, our opening seasons, we had 1 win, 1 tie, and 38 losses.
Someone's got to say it into a mic. Say it into a mic, because I don't know if they
So
can.
hold on here. Montreal's Finance went 9.
No.
We need to say this on mic, because I don't think anyone can hear it.
See, Mocon played in a time where there weren't athletes playing, so we don't count those years.
Say it
It's
in the mic.
I was
era.
saying, as media members, just as sort of
Yeah.
a refreshing thing between myself, Pease, Duke, and Eagle.
And Mo?
Of 40, no, I don't
Not
count
even Mo.
Mo because
Not even Mo.
Mo started in 2005. That doesn't count.
right.
That's pre-site. It doesn't matter.
So between the 4 of us, out of 40 games combined, we won 1, tied 1, and lost 38 in our respective opening seasons.
But just put and in that group now we're gonna say Jim Calethris, owner of 2 championships.
Right.
We've played in a perfect season. We've been
And we lost the first round. Yes.
Well, but just to say,
Not so perfect.
But just to say though, for teams looking for positive things to look forward
Right.
to. Since then, I've been in the playoffs every season. Eagles played in a lot of playoff seasons as well.
I'm in the playoffs every season too. In staff.
As a stat, no, but I'm saying as players, honestly, our teams have seen a lot of success, and it all came from that. But that's not what we're here to discuss. Let's look at the teams that actually still are alive and well. No Name take over the
Right.
conference lead
With a very
the Falcons
solid
loss.
defense. We're an extremely solid defense.
Yeah, only 105 points allowed so far.
114, I think. But anyways,
I have 105 here on the.
105.
fail on all your part. It's 114.
All right, Eagle, maybe prepare better for the show next time. No names leading the way. Falcons trail them by a point.
It's 118.
Yep.
I blame Simon Lejner.
Redmond right behind them. Then TDs and Beer at 4. Smoking Axels at 5. Looney Goons finally at 6. And then we have on the outside looking in. Oh, sorry, not on the outside, but not having clinched. But we have the three-way competition for that last place, for the last 2 places, which is Tigers, One Man Show, and Fuzzy Kittens. Only 2 teams will make it in. There are three spots remaining.
I kind of
Tigers and One Man Show have 8 points to Fuzzy Kittens 6. We'll take a look at the tiebreakers as well. Flight of the Concords, Los Guapos.
Wait, we should talk about that
All right,
division first.
sure.
Yeah. I feel like in Conference A, after seeing what Fuzzy Kittens put on the table that last game with the amount of confidence and the kind of exuberance that they had during that game, Eagle, I got to say, like I feel like this is a team that's aware of their standing. They're aware of their of the consequences of losses at this point, and I feel like going forward, if they can win this week, like they can make it in.
Yeah, you see at the beginning of the season, right? The first few games, you're trying to figure yourself out, and whatever, points go by, not a big deal. You come near the end, you start seeing the breakdowns of where you are in the standings and what you need to do to get in. Maybe,
like
maybe you need some help. Maybe you need, to take control of your own destiny. And this is where teams really distinguish themselves. Of we want to make a push for the playoffs.
This is where the bromance begins, boys.
So, Mo, give us a clearer view of this picture. So, Tigers, one-man show, Fuzzy Kittens. How will the tiebreakers come into effect?
Well, for Fuzzy Kittens and Tigers, obviously they are in the same conference. But given the fact that Fuzzy Kittens are in ninth spot, let's not forget, though, that they did play the Tigers, and Tigers did beat them 26-13. So they have the head-to-head over the Fuzzy Kittens as we speak at the present moment.
So, basically, Fuzzy Kittens, it's tough for them because if it's a two... Yeah, so it would need to be a three-way tie to get them in which the head-to-head won't matter.
And the wins would be thrown out the window as well.
Wins would be thrown out the window. We would get to divisional record.
Which would be thrown out, then point differential would be the fourth tiebreaker.
Not point differential, but points against.
Points against would be the fourth tiebreaker.
Well, no, but it depends, because if Fuzzy Kittens win, Tigers and one-man show play who this week? Because if Fuzzy Kittens win, their divisional record will go to 4-5. Right now, the Tigers are 3-5, and so
one-man show will play Fat and Furious this week.
And Tigers?
And Tigers this week will play the TDs and Beers.
Okay, so if Tigers and one-man show, if either Tigers or one-man show lose and Fuzzy Kittens win, they'll make it into the playoffs.
What if there's ties involved?
No, unless there's a head-to-head.
What if there's ties involved?
Even so. Yeah, well, yeah, no, yeah. So if the three teams, so if one man show wins, Tigers lose, and Fuzzy Kittens win, Fuzzy Kittens and one man show make it. If Tigers win and one man show wins, Fuzzy Kittens are out. If Tigers win, one man show loses, Fuzzy Kittens win.
Let's put it in layman's terms.
It's gonna be Tigers.
Because I'm so confused.
Yeah,
Tigers and one man show need a winner tie to clinch a playoff spot.
Right.
Simple as that.
And it's likely for Tigers to win. And the other thing is, if it comes down to points against, Fuzzy Kittens are in a rough spot. They've allowed 268 points in Conference B. Well, before that, who do you think makes it of the three teams?
I'm gonna go.
Wow. Brain broken.
Woo. Okay, I'm just gonna say I'm gonna go with Fuzzy Kittens because I believe in destiny, and y'all are heathens. So I believe that they're gonna make it in because the Lord is my savior, and they will make it.
And which are the other two?
Oh God,
Tigers or one man show?
I'm probably gonna go with Tigers. I don't know. I don't know.
That's a fairly likely.
No,
scenario.
actually, you know what? No, I'm gonna switch it up. I'm gonna go with Tigers.
So the less likely scenario. Conference B.
He got it. I didn't switch it up at all. I was trying to see if you were paying attention.
Was not. Conference B. We have Flight of the Conchords leading the way. Do you think Flight of the Conchords are a better or worse top seed than No Name?
This is really tough to say because it's almost like talking about a great defense against a great offense, and I would say it's really hard to compare both. I would love to see this matchup in the finals. There'd be nothing better. I would rather see than FOTC playing against No Name because I'd love to see that matchup against a great defense, great offense. But in terms of where they're at. You know what? First of all, before anything else, I find what's really cool this season compared to the last season is that if you Conference A and Conference B are really evenly matched. I find there's a lot of really good teams.
No, for sure. And I mean, I'll just go down the rest of the rankings.
Right? Yeah, go for it.
Get the sort of scenarios ready for the three bubble teams. We have Flight of the Conchords leading, as we said.
Yeah.
Los Guapos right behind.
Yep.
Smash Bros at 3. It'd be fun to see them win because our podcast is called Super Flag Bros, so it's keeping a theme. We then have the Blood Machines.
Is your voice cracking, by the way?
What?
Yeah, it is.
Is your voice cracking?
It is. It's not doing good today. I'm having a rough couple of days overall. Hashtag Baton at 6, Jean-Guy at 7, Royalty at 8, and Big Blue Wrecking Crew on the outside looking in. And they're at 2 points. They're 1 point behind Jean-Guy and Royalty.
Mo, Tell me something.
Sorry, 4 points. They're 2 points behind.
They had a
Jean Guillermo.
tiebreaker on Royalty. They won 30-12 way back in week 6, so they have that on them. So that's key for them in terms of that aspect of it. Other things to look at, they have the tiebreaker on Mile Public House when they won 30-19. So that's their
Tell me
tiebreakers.
something, Mo. Smash Bros. They have to be like it doesn't make sense that they're at this point. They have a quarterback that has 50 touchdowns.
Yes.
It's ridiculous, and it's that one loss. Like
Well, two
losses.
2 losses. Right.
But again, let's focus on the bubble team. So Jean-Guy and Royalty, what they got to win basically to
Essentially, they are 2 points up on Big Blue Wrecking Crew. Win or tie, they will clinch a playoff spot.
same with Royalty.
Same thing with Royalty. Win or tie, they will clinch
And
a
who
playoff
do
spot.
Jean-Guy and Royalty play this
Jean-Guy
week?
is playing Smash Bros. Royalty is playing Been There, Done That. And Big Blue Wrecking Crew is playing Los Guapos.
Yeah.
Ooh,
Okay, so
those are
basically
3 really tough matchups.
3 really tough matchups. Honestly, if there is a surprise here, I think Jean-Guy...
No, not
no.
You know what's really interesting here? If you look at the schedule, Big Blue Wrecking Crew are playing on the Tuesday, and the other games are all on the Monday
So they'll
night.
kind of know their fate before the game.
Yeah,
Exactly.
they might
But
even
also-
show up on Tuesday.
They better show up on Tuesday.
What time,
Sergio, I'm looking at you.
what time on Tuesday? Because I find 10:30 games are terrible.
It's the 9:30 game.
Okay, it's not that. That's not as bad. Not that 1 hour makes.
That being said, it could be exciting because, again, all 3 teams will be underdogs heading in. Do you think we'll see a shakeup?
but how cool would it be? Like I agree. Like I personally don't think there's going to be any shakeup whatsoever because I think that all 3 teams are going to be playing against really really tough opponents. All 3 tough opponents don't want to be losing at this stage just because of the standings and who they're going to be playing against. But specifically, like I would love to see a game where Jean-Guy put up a stiff competition because they have a really good defense. But I'd like to see them put up a stiff competition against against.
You want to see them put up the
Yeah.
stiff, right?
The stiff competition against Smash Bros. Like, I feel like Smash Bros. Like they've been riding so high at this point. Like,
And the
Yeah.
stiff competition, they're riding high.
right?
Got it.
And
Cool.
yeah. and my main thing is like I love the fact that Smash Bros they're playing an incredible season this far so far. It's crazy that they're in 3rd place in Conference B, but like I'd like to see that shit. Say if I had to choose a shakeup that I'd like to see, would be that game where like Jean-Guy, like and that's the kind of game that I'm going to watch out for. I'd like to see if Jean-Guy can pull a fight out of their pockets against
All right.
Smash
Well, we'll see how that transpires. But for now, I believe it's the rant with D's.
Yep.
What do you got?
What do I have?
Nice
What do
and
I
quick.
have? What do I have?
Yeah.
What kind of grown ass man forgets loses his passport 4 days before leaving on vacation?
Oh my
Can
God,
I-
that's right. You're leaving for vacation.
6 days.
6 days and you lose your passport.
Can I interject?
What's wrong with
Brand new passport.
Brand new passport.
I haven't used.
I don't understand.
I got another.
Yeah,
Can you
rush
explain
delivered,
to people
right?
how you lose your passport just before you leave on vacation?
It's pretty terrible. It's an expensive mistake, by the way. For those of you
Super
not looking to
expensive.
spend $275 to
right?
repair to get it.
To be
No, because the passport itself is only about $160. But you get, in order to get it rushed to you, first of all, you got to pay a fee for losing it, and then you got to pay $110 to get it overnighted, basically.
Yeah. This is their problem. The fact that you lost your passport, like I don't understand. Like you had it. It was in. I was at home. You never left with it, and you lost it,
Yeah.
and you looked everywhere, and you can't find it.
We
don't understand
have a
what's wrong
walk-in
with
closet.
you.
We
How-
removed every piece of clothing. We went through everywhere in the house.
How awesome would it be if it's like in the pantry or
I'll
something?
be
It
super
has to
pissed
be.
off
Mo,
because
Mo,
it's canceled and doesn't count.
Mo, you don't
doesn't work?
understand. You don't understand the amount of crap. Like he loses his passport, right? But I get yelled at by my parents because this idiot
'Cause
can't.
we're going on a
can't seem to
family.
figure it
We're
out.
going on a family vacation to celebrate my parents' 35th anniversary in Hawaii in 4 days. Which, by the way, that brings me to my Thursday lesson.
No. No one cares about your lesson plan right now. You're an idiot. Everyone needs to know
Yes.
that you're an idiot.
Yes.
And the other thing I need to know is, like, what's wrong with you?
Well, it's
What's
kind of
wrong?
the same point. What's wrong with me is actually that I'm an idiot.
But do you have an actual logical excuse as to
No, I
how
don't
you
know.
lost it in an 800 square condo?
820 square feet.
Right. Maybe it's the 20 square feet that you lost
Maybe.
it. Well, I don't know.
20 square
I don't know.
feet. Honestly, it's bizarre because it's the one thing that I always put in the same place, except for this time. Anyway, so hoping it turns up. Either way, I've had to pay for a new one anyway, so that kind of sucks. But that does bring me a Thursday.
You're a grown ass man, by the way. You're a grown ass man.
Thursday lesson was A, don't lose your passport. B, P's and D's will not be here for the next episode of Super Flag Bros.
Can we live podcast on the ship?
I don't think anybody wants us to live.
But can we do it? It'd be amazing.
Get a webcam and I'll set it up.
We have a what's it called? The one where you're a GoPro. We have a GoPro.
Yeah, maybe we can GoPro, but maybe we can upload it before.
No, GoPro.
Can we do it on Periscope?
But what if?
Yes.
We can talk
That's
about
actually
this
not
off
bad.
air, guys.
But what if we film it and we send it to you after?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. Okay. So what I'm gonna do is I won't have that fourth drink in the coconut, and we might be okay to do the podcast.
We can Skype call this. I'm pretty
Maybe,
sure.
maybe we can film like a
So
small
figure this
short
out.
segment.
Actually, figure this out because
Short segment.
if we can live broadcast from Hawaii, that'd be epic.
I might be too drunk to speak.
Yeah, you will be too drunk to speak. I've vacationed with you before. Yes, sorry about that. So the next thing about the Thursday Lesson Plan is we may or may not be your host next week on location, but I do want to tell everyone, remember that the games this week are at Brossard. Even if you play on Sunday, don't show up to Lachine because you'll be as much of a loser as a guy who lost
His passport. 5 days before leaving on vacation. By the way, people are still going to show up at Lachine.
Absolutely.
Okay, Eagle, how many guys are going to show up at Lachine?
Yeah. I think,
GM says 12.
I think
You?
over under on 12 is good.
You're going to say over under 12? Mo, how many?
2.
I will take. I'm with Mo. I'm gonna take the under.
Yeah, under.
Just because how many people listen to this amazing
Yes,
podcast.
of course.
That being said, I want to thank you all, and remember, bye.
stressed out PZ. We have one stressed out Eagle, and we have a relaxed GM who's going for a soon to be stressed out Terry Tam.
Freshly engaged.
That's why he'd be stressed out. Because Terry Tam.
Yes, every time.
For those who don't know, welcome to the You'll Never Walk Alone podcast. Terry Tam is actually away, but the best news of the day is that Terry Tam got engaged to his roommate, who will now have to endure Terry Tam for the rest of her life.
Can we clarify who his roommate actually is?
We can't do that.
GM Caletheris.
You know why we
Not
can't do that?
GM Collector.
Because the millions of viewers that we have are going to try to add her on Facebook. And
So it is a her. That's what I was getting at.
You're saying, Mo, that
We're going to create a cult of personality for
his
Terry's
roommate.
fiance.
I am Terry's roommate. I actually, knowing that he is overseas, I still left him a voicemail yesterday. That's sweet. Left me a voicemail.
He will never check that. Nobody checks voicemail.
I think once you know her, Vanessa. Maybe not.
Weren't we saying we're not going to mention who she was?
Well, I didn't mention the last name. We're good.
So she's going to be what? Mrs. Terry Tam?
Yes. Anyway, congratulations, Terry and Vanessa, on the engagement. Very happy for you. All of us here at FPF are happy for you, and can't wait to see you say I do. More likely to happen, Terry getting married or the Cowboys winning the Super Bowl. We'll talk about that in January. All right, it is now time to talk about the big game of the week. GNR against STL. GNR outclassing STL in this matchup here, covering the point spread, you guys say. Vinny Galano, 5 TDs. Dylan Taylor, 3 TDs, 2 INTs. Before the game, I saw Dylan Taylor and Jimmy Ojea, GM. I said, guys, who have you beaten? Don't blame us. It's the schedule. I go, you're right. It is the schedule. Are they still overrated?
I don't think they're overrated. I think they're exactly where they should be, if not just a tad weaker. They're a very, very well put together team. They have stars all across the board. They just sort of lack those key execution plays, those 3rd down and 4th down plays that turn you from a good team to a great team.
I think for STL, you're right. I think they lack that killer instinct or the killer finish to finish off a drive or two here. But I just think they keep teams, minus GNR, that game was a complete wash. But prior to that, though, I just think that teams are always within striking distance of them, and they go away with the victory because they had that going by their way. But I just think that right now, STL has not impressed me enough to say, yeah, I'm going to put them up there in the same bracket with GNR, that they are going to be the 2 reps, or one of the 2 will move on to the Div C final in 3 weeks' time.
I wouldn't either. I agree with you on that. However, I wouldn't say that they don't lack that potential. They're a team who are definitely capable of doing it. And if you see a couple of minute changes on offense and a little bit on defense as well, they're definitely a contender and can be that team. You saw glimpses of it in the GNR game as well.
Speaking of GNR, can anyone stop this team?
It doesn't really look like it right now. They've been very, very much on their game. We've talked about it before, how this ensemble, this collective of players, they're good, but put into the system, led by Vinny Galano, they become great. They're all solid players that work well within this. Anthony De Silva, he and Vinny seem to share a sort of telepathic connection.
Right.
When he'll know when to deviate from his routes to create open as Vinny's scrambling. It's just a well put together team.
Okay, so the question is for Vinny Galano is he now in the driver's position to win quarterback of the year?
Well, just to
Yes,
look at
please.
it right now, Joey Taylor's got 47 touchdowns, 6 interceptions.
And
Vinny
a broken
Galano's-
wrist, I think, or mashed up wrist.
Yeah, which he won a game with.
Surprise. But he gave up like 8 sacks, though.
That's true. Although Joey Taylor does take sacks. Vinny Galano got 40. He's thrown 46 touchdowns and thrown 6 interceptions as well. Vinny Galano also has 3 more rushing touchdowns than Joey Taylor. Joey Taylor's 2.5 downs face off against Laval's finest, while Vinny Galano's grip and rip face off against Hitman Retro.
The one
final
thing
games of the
that we can deviate into this a little bit more as we discuss it later on in the podcast, but the one thing that really impresses me more about Joey Taylor for candidate for quarterback of the year, as much as people are going to complain about his style or what have you, Joey Taylor completes 4 out of 5 of every attempts he makes. He has an 80% completion ratio, and right now, considering his other competition in Division C, it's phenomenal.
and 120.7 quarterback rating.
I think like it's going to come down to the voters in this scenario of quarterback of the
Voter.
year. Or voter or power.
Emperor Campana.
Our Campana. Sorry, Robert C.
Dark Lord Campana.
Yes.
Let's call her Lisa S.
No, it's too obvious.
L. Simpson.
Al Simpson. I think what we like, the numbers are great from both of them, right? But I think what it'll come down to, if I had my vote, is quality of wins. Who have they beaten in terms of the top tier of Div C? Because at the end of the day, if Joey Gallo or Vinny Galano, pardon me, are playing.
Mitch Gallo and Vinny Galano. I don't know too many people who know those two, but they look nothing alike. For those of you who know who Mitch Gallo is.
No, it doesn't have the same ring to it.
But if it came down to quality of wins and who they beat, I think that should be the determining factor of them winning quarterback of the year.
I see Eagle looking a little bit more like Mitch Gallo than Vinny Galano.
Yeah, maybe. Unathletically speaking. Preds Light, Cream Team. Light win 38-32 in a thriller. Simon Bosquet-Baudin, 4 TDs, 1 INT. Jared Humphrey, 5 TDs, 2 INTs. Winner of the 3 of the last 4 games. If Preds get in, are they the team that no one wants to face at this point in the season?
I don't know how to feel about this because early on they seem to lack an identity, they seem to lack a defense, and they've, just like Simon Bosquet-Baudin's quarterback style, they've hit the ground running. In the last few weeks, they've looked stronger and stronger. They're adapting on defense, they're causing turnovers, as well as still keeping up that high-scoring offense. This would be a dark horse team that can surprise and upset a lot of teams in the playoffs.
Puzzles? Any quick thoughts on this?
He does look puzzled.
Yes and no. I kind of worry. I kind of worry about basketball in the playoffs, having to face off against sort of top tier defenses. I do think that they can pose a particularly difficult matchup for certain teams, sort of teams that maybe lack a little bit of speed and won't be able to keep up with them. That being said, honestly, SPB is going to have to win games with his arm, and he hasn't always been able to do that throughout the season.
Look, I'm disappointed by this team, Korean team that is. Look, they had a phenomenal winter season. They've been very competitive the last couple of years in FPF. I just think kind of unravel for them this year. Even though they're missing guys, Alex Grace not as consistent on the lineup. Missing this guy, Rusher here, Joy Blue not being there, Monat not being there sometimes. How disappointed are you by Cream Team's finish this season?
Honestly, not very at all. They were a very solid Div E team. You saw them in the winter as well evolve throughout the winter season. However, as they face steeper and steeper competition, man defense 90% of the time will not work as easily. It works well when they're up against players who are less athletic than them that they can shut down. But when they're up against more experienced teams who know how to exploit that, that's when you see the wheels fall off.
Right. Other Div C observations from this week, GM, that caught your attention from Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday?
It's not often that I get to toot my own team, but since this is my division, my division I play in, but I don't cover.
Yes.
Top Sauce going from almost out of the playoffs to an eligible 4 seed blows my mind, considering how terrible that team is.
By the way,
2 straight wins.
Yeah.
I just want to make a point. I think the season turned for them, or starting for you and GM, or for Eagle over here, is when we had the sideline bet of
the over-under.
22 and a half incompletions.
incompletions.
That chocolate milk was delicious.
And I had
Thank you,
22.
And who saved it?
Ella.
You saved it for Bertolli to get that touchdown.
Yep.
Yeah, I think Top Sauce, even Keyshawn Thompson, who was with Garrett Taylor and myself watching the game on the sidelines after his game, he was quite impressed by Vince Nardone in terms of the fact that he was able to read the field, make his throws, run when he had to run, and the confidence that he had in his deep ball, whereas in weeks 1 through 4, it wasn't there. He just threw it up there. Hopefully someone came down with it. And in this case, though, he looks a lot better now as a quarterback. I don't know if PZ would agree with that or not, but
I've ragged on him a lot, but at the same time, Vince Nardone is also the only quarterback in Division C presently who's playing quarterback for the first time this season.
He got a little pep talk from Kevin Wyeth after one of our first wins of the season. So
was it more like a recruiting talk? Hey, any plans in winter? Do anything in particular in winter season, maybe?
Nardone has thrown 15 touchdowns and only 2 interceptions the past 3 weeks. It's absolutely commendable. It's tough for a first-time quarterback to
Especially
throw
in Div C.
In Div C to throw 5 touchdowns in a game, let alone 3 back-to-back. Vince, honestly, great work. You've improved a great deal in just 1 season alone.
My observation: Brotherhood. They are rolling and going here. I mean, Jamie Harry looks phenomenal right now in terms of how he's played as a quarterback. He's same thing with Vince Nardone. had a rough first few weeks at the quarterback position. Now he's playing awesome football. And you wonder, maybe Top Sauce gets in. Maybe Brotherhood does clinch a playoff spot officially this weekend.
And Brotherhood have won 4 of the last 5 games.
Absolutely. You wonder if maybe, we'll talk more about that in our
Collision
playoff
course.
pictures. If maybe, just maybe, dark horse teams indeed. Coming up next, we'll talk about the Div C playoff picture and the one division that could have maybe 4 teams, no teams. Who knows what the hell's going on in that division? Find out next year on You'll Never Walk Alone with who looks like Mesut Ozil today.
I'm not clear on who that is.
Google him.
Who?
Mesut, M-E...
Oh, it's spelled just like it sounds.
M-E-S-U-T-O-Z-I-L. Mesut Ozil. Come up next here on You'll Never Walk Alone.
Great radio.
Calling the Audible has been brought to you by the English Montreal School Board's DEAL program. Distance education for all learners will allow you to obtain your high school diploma or prerequisites for SAGEP or vocational studies from the comfort of your own home. It's never too late to go back to school. Learn anywhere at your own pace and get your diploma. Call 514-788-5937 for information or visit www.distanted.ca for more details.
I don't care. That's not a compliment at all.
Okay.
No.
Okay. In lieu of this being the You'll Never Walk Alone Liverpool theme, Google pick Emery, E-M-R-E, space,
Can you at least put it on the screen?
Chan,
So
C-A-N.
people know what he's talking about.
Emery
C-A-N?
Yeah, C-A-N.
want him to respell it. I didn't hear it.
Emery Chan, E-M-R-E.
Okay, that's closer. At
That's
least.
a little bit closer.
Welcome back to You Never Walk Alone. This is Mo Khan with GM.
Hey, it's our host, Legal and Master Control.
All right, talk about the playoff scenarios here. We'll go through Conference A, and of course, well, as we look at it right now, 3 playoff spots, 6 teams are vying for it as we speak. 3 are in, 3 are out. Currently, PZ, if you want to elaborate on that as you wipe your glasses, who is on the outside looking in, and who are the 3 teams occupying the spots that have not clinched officially?
Well, what we'll do is we'll look at the teams you've highlighted, Mo. As I get the spreadsheet in front of me, the teams that you've highlighted are in
2.5 Dans.
No, Laval's Finest, Serve with Heat, Hitman, West Park Boys, West Park Boys,
West Park Boys, yes.
West Park Boys, Longhorns, and Cream Team. Which of these do you feel have what it takes to make the playoffs?
Well, let's go quickly team by team here, GM. On the outside looking in, Cream Team, Longhorns, West Park Boys, right? So let's see it from this perspective here. West Park Boys, I think it's a one-man show with the Meat Paul. Raymond Tonier has done okay as a quarterback. I think their defense is very tenacious at times. They can make a play here and there. But I'm just not buying
Patrick Shada, that physicality as well.
Mr. Statsman himself. I'm not buying them as a true, legit playoff team because they're going to have problems in the playoffs playing better offensive.
I agree. However, they do have these games right now with all these teams at 8 wins, the 3-way tie for 8 wins. It's going to come down to matchups. On paper, West Park Boys, not a very strong team, but they stay resilient in games. They have pure raw athleticism, and they just make plays, and you can never count that out. It will not last. The wheels will eventually fall off in the playoffs, but it may be enough to sneak in.
Longhorns, I think it's done for them. Unfortunately, it came to
I think
crashing.
that's one of my biggest disappointments of the.
We saw the game last week, which we watched together.
Against
it
West
was,
Park Boys.
Yeah, it was done at half.
That was the game that Longhorns also had no business losing.
None. Cream Team, again, we spoke about it before. I just don't know about them this year. I think this is a team that needs to retool and get more consistent with their lineup. Otherwise, maybe winter could be a bigger year for them in 2016, and then maybe having a deeper run with Alex Grace being there as opposed to him being there 4 or 5 times during the season. Teams holding playoff spots, LV's Finest. Look, I felt bad for them early on because they lost a lot of games within 5 plays. They lost a Punisher on the last play, a few others within 3 plays.
But also losing to higher seeded teams, top tier teams. They're not throwaway games. These are games where they manage to stay competitive.
They do. But Serve with Heat, I think, is a team, and Pease might want to chime in as well. I think Serve with Heat is a team that could be on the outside looking in. They have stumbled of late. They have not been impressive in my books. They came late to one game, which they won against the Patriots. But otherwise, the Pats. Otherwise, they have not impressed me as a whole, and I think they can be on the outside looking in by the time we talk about this next Thursday.
So given the matchups, we have no fly zone taking on Serve with Heat. But we have Laval's Finest facing off against 2.5 Dans. How do you think those matchups will play out? It will help the playoff picture clarify.
Let's not forget, No Fly Zone has a chance to win second place for their division. So they have a lot to play for, and this isn't like a throwaway game for them. So I think, GM, if you want to expand on this, I think Laval's Finest...
I think Laval's Finest, could be on the outside looking in. It's kind of sad right now because they're the highest of these on-the-bubble teams in the 6th seed, but they have arguably the worst matchup going into the playoffs, and it's not likely.
Keep in mind that Laval's Finest is currently sitting with 9 points above the next 3 teams at 8 points, so they can squeeze their way in if the math works out.
And in some of the games that you pointed out, some of the teams you pointed out also have some interesting matchups. Longhorns face Killer Instinct, West Park Boys face Top Citizen, and Cream Team face Patriot. So I mean, we see Cream Team facing a team that's struggled, West Park Boys facing a team that's struggled, and Longhorns facing a team in Killer Instinct that has had its up and down moments as well.
They seem, as much to my dismay, I noticed with Simon's articles that I've consistently been picking against Killer Instinct, purely based, I think, on their early season woes. I think I didn't have faith, like knowing him from other leagues as well. I didn't have faith in Jeff Mather as a quarterback, so I immediately wrote this team off. And then later on in the season, seeing these teams play, seeing Killer Instinct play, I'm becoming more of a fan, and I don't think the Longhorns are going to stand a chance in this one.
So really, it would come down to Cream Team, Patriot, and West Park Boys Top Citizen. Do you think that either Top Citizen or Patriot will have the chance to play spoiler?
No, because Top Citizen doesn't have a quarterback. Gianfranco Ronaldo's playing quarterback. You might as well have Simon Dasher play quarterback for your team.
Well, let's not take it that far.
Simon Dasher made playoffs.
I think Top Citizens, unfortunately, and look, their season came to an end, and they've been unraveling week by week. I mean, guys pointing fingers at each other, not happy with the formation on offense or defense. I'm not saying they're going to roll over, but it wouldn't surprise me to see them get rolled over.
I sympathize because what a lot of players, especially when you see bickering within teams, a lot of players don't know how difficult it is to branch off and make a team yourself.
Right.
And having to cater to all these egos and keep everyone happy. I mean, having teams successfully show up week in, week out, having pants, shorts, flags, money. It's hard work, and when they start to bicker, you see teams and players start to branch off that way. So I think that does have a lot to do with it as well.
By the time we discuss next week the playoff previews and No Fly Zone, Killer Instinct, who will be the division champion? And remember, they both have 13 points here, so someone's going to get the division one way or another. As we speak, Killer Instinct holds that edge.
I think it'll still be Killer Instinct in their matchup against the Longhorns. I definitely think that they're going to allow fewer points than No Fly Zone do in their matchup.
Does anyone want to play the Zoo? Zoo will be locked in as a 5 seed, if not maybe as a 4 seed. But does anyone want to play them in a 4-5 versus matchup?
There's a lot of times where the 4 seed plays spoiler, especially in lower divisions. So oftentimes it's the second place team in their respective conference or subdivision. Right. And that's not a team that's to be taken lightly or written off. And especially Zoo, who have this experience, who know how to adapt to games.
And with the way they've been playing, especially in the past couple weeks.
Absolutely.
They're a team on fire.
They had a big win over the weekend as well, and so they are definitely putting themselves in position to potentially make a run in the playoffs here.
So basically, whoever doesn't win that second seed is going to be playing Zoo, right?
That's right. That's pretty much a lock guarantee for that matter. Conference B, more muddled than Conference A in terms of playoff availability. Only 3 teams PZ has clinched so far.
Well, we have Grip and Rip leading the way at the first spot. They've clinched the first seed as well. Followed by Prime Time with 10 points. STL has 14 points, and they are in the third spot. Then those are the only teams that have clinched. Following them are Brotherhood, Dams 25-8, Team Ethnic at 6, Snatchers at 7 with 9 points, Game Changers with 8. Now on the outside looking in is Top Sauce with 8, Predators Light with 8, and then eliminated from the playoff we have Les Bleus, Branlard, Keyport Lock, and KGP Champs.
And unfortunately for LBB, they no-showed their game with Snatchers and gave them.
Apparently, they couldn't field more than 2 people for this game.
That's the unfortunate part.
Weak.
It is really weak. I'm going to come in and say I'm going to play devil's advocate on both sides of the fence here. Yes, it's really shitty. It's a big inconvenience to everyone, including me. I showed up to scorekeep that game, and I wasn't notified.
Oh yeah, you weren't
I
happy.
knew.
It
You weren't
sucks
happy.
for the Snatchers to not have a team to play against and to keep that rhythm. And it sucks for teams vying for that playoff spot. Granted, playing devil's advocate, I don't think that LBB would have beaten Snatchers anyways.
Fair.
But
Great for their points against.
it's great for their points against, and it's a big help in the Snatchers
Absolutely.
category.
And how do you think the devil's avocado would taste like?
sorry?
Awful.
The devil's avocado. How do you think that would taste like?
It tastes awful. It tastes great initially, but
Bitter.
you realize
Very bitter.
One thing to add in here, Primetime, as much as they're in the second seed, they haven't
No, they've
they
not
haven't
clinched
clinched
yet,
it yet, but they
'cause-
have clinched the playoff
playoff
spot
spot,
because
yes.
whether they win or lose this week, their divisional record will bump them above anyone in any particular tiebreak scenario.
Now, here's the fascination with this division. You can tweet at SGM Cole44, PZ FPF, Eagle FPF, Mocon here at the cage. If you're not in the cage, you're not here.
I think I think that this is one of the few seasons where we don't have a lot of tweet-ins.
No.
Brent Calendar is in class, so
Or maybe he's on a. I don't know where he is. It's fascinating to see that what we're looking at right now of the 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8 spots could all change within a snap of a finger here. Brotherhood, of course, in the 4 spot. Damps in the 5 spot. I look at this whole conference. Is it parity or the lack of great teams in this conference, guys?
I think there's a lot of really good teams in this conference.
Yeah, I think there are teams that are solid, but sometimes inconsistent or struggling. Like you see, they're very athletic, well laid out teams who just seem to be underperforming at times.
I think I watched my fair share of games in this conference. Look, we know who the cream of this division is. It's GNR and SCL, and Primetime has been floundering since the Chichire brothers made that tweet to me about, hey, clean your glasses, watch the receivers play on our team. They've not done well since then. But I just think...
Although I just cleaned my glasses, so perhaps they'll be better.
Maybe, just maybe. I just think right now this division, and look, unfortunately there are injuries. Game Changers does not have Terrence Dobson anymore for the year. Damps 25 missing Jay Grandison, who won't be there. Probably not. He's going back to New York for junior football or junior college football that he has. Every team has a question mark about them. Mm-hmm. But in reality, those teams that have not clinched yet, are they really legitimate contenders, though?
just to add to a point here, if you add up the divisional records of the top 8 in Conference A and the top 8 in Conference B, they actually have 23 wins apiece for those top 8. So they're actually identical, quote unquote, when it comes to divisional records right now.
So parity reigns supreme in Div C, then. That's your point.
I have a question, Mo.
Yes, there you go. Oh, yes, puzzles.
Never say that. Snatchers hold the 7th spot with 9 points. They face STL this week. How likely do you think it is that they hold on to a playoff spot? Or do you think that 2 of the 3 teams with 8 points in Game Changers, Top Sauce, Paris Light can move up and have the Snatchers on the outside looking in?
Here's my theory. If I'm scorekeeping that game with Simon Dagenet, they lose automatically. And how awesome would it be to see Simon Dagenet go from a playoff spot to the outside looking
It would be
in?
the greatest thing ever. I would actually hope in this scenario I wouldn't get my passport in time and not go to Hawaii so I can see
Oh,
that.
man.
So
At least have a backup
he
plan.
can go from being on the bubble to being out on the playoffs in both.
Can I ever show you? Do you guys ever see his look? When he's having like a great game, he gives you a look like this.
No, it's actually it's the same look the kid gives you in class when he doesn't know what you're talking about.
He gives me a look. Anyway. Puzzles, great question, though. Great question. Great question.
And you almost answered it.
I'm saying,
That's a Mocon answer.
That's fair. That's fair.
Damps 25-8, though, they are in the 5 spot. Do you believe they have a chance to potentially win this division here? Do you like their chances, yes or no?
I don't think that they're going to win their division. They're very strong. They're going to be a good contender in the playoffs, but it's going to stay status quo here, I believe.
Looking at the East Division for Conference B here, as we talk more playoffs here, 5 teams, of course, have a chance at it. Right now, with the 5 teams that we've mentioned before in this division alone, for Conference B East, Damps, Primetime, Ethnic, Changers, and Pres Light, which team will be on the outside looking in when we talk about this next week?
Part of me wants to say Snatchers. Part of me wants to say Game Changers. I picked Game Changers to win, though. It's going to be an odd turn of events. I'm going to go with Snatchers on this one.
That'd be awesome, by the way. That would be really cool to see Simon Dagenet like cry in his Gatorade. He brings a lunchbox with him, by the way.
If we see him cry, we now know how every sexual partner he's ever had feels.
But I think the team to look at is game changers. Unfortunately, right now, with the injuries they've gone through and the team, it's literally a skeleton of what it once was. The Filtro was there, Dobson was there, now they're not there, both hurt. I think they could be the outside looking in when we talk about this. As good as they are as a group of players to talk to, I just think they don't have enough firepower to make that last surge into the playoffs and have an impact in the playoffs.
Agreed.
The finalists, do you think that it could come from this division, though? Given how many teams are in playoff spots right now, could they potentially make it to the finals?
Well, it's statistically a 1 in 2 chance that a finalist comes from this division.
You're right. But if it ends up being an all-divisional final, maybe GNR against STL, it's a 0% chance.
Yes. I like it. That's a chance.
Is this another add up to 100% segment?
Maybe. It is, maybe.
What did we learn?
But do you think
Did you say
any
it's
of these-
100% and segment over?
Mic drop. But do you believe any of these teams can give GNR, hypothetically, a good run for their money?
Look, this is the playoffs. These teams are all experienced teams. It's not a question of there being a massive separation between the two. It's not like, say, winter 2011, where the Warriors and the Triple Sixers pounded everyone else in the division and no one stood a chance. There's a lot of competitive games here. We're not seeing blowouts by 30 or 40 points. The playoffs are a whole new season, and teams are going to come in fiery. And whereas STL and GNR had all this praise, they now have something to prove throughout these playoffs that they're as good as everyone's said they are.
Little key stat here: GNR and STL are both combined 5-0 against that division alone. So they're undefeated so far. Who knows what will happen? You like that stat line or what, Puzzles?
Pretty good. I like that one.
Solid. I'll ask you this question, you two gentlemen here: is this the best division? A, B, C, D, and E. Is this the best division from start to finish? I think it is.
I absolutely think it is.
I think it is because of the uncertainty of playoff spots, the parity that has reigned supreme, and the fact that you still have some smash mouth teams like GNR still dominating, even though there's so many close teams within range of each other.
I think you tend to see this in larger divisions, but even at that, Div C just even has more character. I find a lot of other divisions, and we're not seeing what we see in the small divisions, and that there really is sort of like a top tier and a lower tier that gets smashed. I would not be surprised by any of the top seeds falling out early in the playoffs, and I would not be surprised to see them make a run either.
I think what's really interesting here is if you look at the teams that are sitting currently in playoff spots, let's start with that. None of them are teams that you go, oh, these guys are really close to the the cap at the top end. You're looking at Grip and Rip, which is more of a system type of team. Same thing with 2.5 times on the other side. They're not hitting the cap ceiling, so it's interesting to see how that happens.
Fascinating times for FPF with Div C being
I think so. I think if we had to rate them on a 1 to 5 scale, like the top being the best, I would go C, D, A, B, E, in my opinion.
I go C, B, I go D, E, and then A.
A is last.
I'm
Interesting.
confused. I can't follow.
I know you can't. I'm sorry.
Good.
Puzzles.
I agree with Mo.
I think A's been terrible this year. It's been awful. There's no storylines. I can't think of storylines. I have Peasy thinking storylines for this script.
For
That's
division,
fair.
it's interesting.
Yeah. Quickly here, guys. Who wins quarterback of the year?
I had it written out. I think it's going to be Joey Taylor.
Joey Tate. I said Joey Tate wins his first quarterback of the year. He's been in contention a bunch of times. It's about time we realize how good a quarterback he is.
Yeah, Vinny Guilano and Matt Bourbonniere are close, but I would go with Joey Taylor in this.
Receiver of the year.
Okay, this is where I find it very interesting. Carm Police has games played in Division A. Do we count him in this race? Because if we do, it's Carm hands down.
How many? Okay, so
But if not,
You played 1 or 2, right? With the
yeah,
Legends,
I was going to
correct?
say there's kind of like not a rule, but sort of an understanding that if a player is not playoff eligible in another division, they are eligible for the award in a lower division. It's kind of what I've heard rumblings of in the past.
So I would say undoubtedly it would be Carm Police then. However, for fun's sake, if we exclude him from this race here, there's a ton of players all with 14 or 13 touchdowns that have the proper stats for it. It would come right down to the wire here. You've got Anthony De Silva, Amit Paul, Pat Saint-Amand, Sam Bourbonniere, Matt Monet, Steve Sander, Emilio Cecere, J-Flo, Jamie Ojea, and Rob Allen.
We could do like a 10-way.
It would be a 10-way receiver of the year. It's going to come down to, it would be,
A lot of those guys would be nominated for 2-way too, potentially.
it is potentially, yeah. And it's very, very interesting to see that. I think this also proves the parity in this division, that it's not going to be a standout winner. It's really going to, everyone's going to have to sit down and examine this and figure it out.
Defensive player of the year is who in your mind?
Right now, my standout is James Donald. Very, very strong player. Not just, you watch him play, you see it. It's not even in the stats he puts up, but in the stats he doesn't put up, because quarterbacks simply turn away from where he is, and he still manages to make a play on there. Vince Nardone as well, top sauce, 8 interceptions, close to James Donald's 9. Has a ton more tackles, though, shows he's everywhere on the field, has 2 pick sixes, has been really, really solid, and a ton of passes defended as well.
And quickly, 2-way player of the year.
Vinny Golano.
Easily.
I think that's easy.
So, Galano, 2-way player of the year, Joy Taylor, quarterback of the year, correct?
Yeah. I would say that. Other runners-up, Matt Monet from Cream Team has great offensive and defensive numbers. Joseph Chetri as well, having those back and forth.
I was going to say Joseph Chetri, if Vinny Galano weren't to win it, like if he were to throw like 7 interceptions this week, then I'd probably say Joseph Chetri. But at the moment, I think Vinny's running away with it.
All right, picks of the week. It's time. Our last picks of the week for the regular season.
It is time for picks of the week. Once again, we went to our wise guys in Vegas. They returned
hold on,
with the
before
following.
you do it, hey, STL, how about that point spread? Thanks for the chocolate milk, guys.
That being said, this week, No Fly Zone play a potentially tight game against Serve with Heat. No Fly Zone are 2.5 point favorites.
I don't know about this one. I feel like this is a trap game, considering how frustrated Serve with Wheat are going to be coming off that loss. I spoke to JD Chevalier, who was not happy at all. They have the athleticism. They have the players to really break down and break away from this game. So I'm not going to take that. I would actually take Serve with Heat on this one.
All right. So
the
you're
Heat.
taking the points. I have to teach you how to gamble like I had to teach Matt Kerouac in the Devane V show.
Yeah.
That's an interesting one.
Team Ethnic will take on Preds Light and have the light point spread of 4.5 points, where Team Ethnic is actually the favorite.
I'm going to take the points on this one as well, having learned my lesson. I think Preds Light are going to surprise, especially the matchups they pose against Team Ethnic. So Preds Light for me.
Ethnic all the way.
In a game that some may say might be just an atrocious matchup or a surprising win, depending on which side of the fence you ally yourself with, Brotherhood are favored by 6.5 points over Top Sauce. Volkan.
Knowing the possibility of who Top Sauce have at rusher to combat Jamie Harry.
Top sauce.
Yeah, I know. Give me Top Sauce with the points, but Brotherhood to win.
But not to win?
Not to win.
Interesting.
As we all know, I don't actually make up the spreads. I get them from my insiders in Vegas.
Yes.
I saw it, and I actually think Top Sauce is not a very good matchup for Brotherhood. I'm going to go ahead and take Brotherhood and give up the points. Game Changers take on Primetime. Primetime, of course, all in caps, but the point spread itself, less exciting at only 3.5 points. Gentlemen.
Primetime stinks right now, but give me Primetime.
I don't remember who I picked in my article.
Irrelevant.
Well, in Simo's article, because it was one of the only ones that we were differed on. And looking at it right now, I don't know what I said before, but I really hope I picked Primetime. I'm going to go with Primetime on that one.
All right, PC, what did you learn in today's episode?
Not much. It was a slow week. I was not even paying attention to you. I'm sorry about that.
Puzzles. Did not learn anything. What did you learn, Eagle?
I kind of got to concur. I mean, Terry's not here. He's solving the Greek debt crisis. That's pretty cool.
Yeah. GM?
I learned that we can go over the time limit because it's playoffs, and I'm really excited about that. And we can abuse this rule in the future.
I
I
learned.
feel like with less teams listening, we talk more.
Yes.
That's true. I learned we are now officially 24 days away from Chinois.
and the finals.
Yes. Good morning, London.
were watching with us, listening to calling the audible, the official, and perhaps only the Division 2 podcast for Flagpost Football. Example. Screw you all your older podcasts. You're basically vloggers and like so anyway. We are actually in the Spectator today, Tier 2, where in the game is engaged. I'm joined to my right by Jim Colanteros. You can follow, of course, at Jim Colanteros. Technical director for the show is Eagle FPF, Eagle Master Control himself. And to my left, you can live stream the show by tweeting our producer, Will Karma, tweeting at Will Karma 19. Where the hell is the script? What? There is no script this week. Rules? There are rules. No rules here. It starts time around. Absolutely. So instead, I'm going to buy time with America. We'll talk about Nigeria. It's important. I went to Subway today, and they have a new lobster sandwich. So I immediately asked the gentleman at the counter by saying, what's the level of food poisoning that I will get from the sandwich? He assured me that he had changed the lobster 10 short minutes ago. So I ordered it. It was expensive. It was like $18 for a 12-inch sandwich and for bottled water. So I like lobster rolls, and I had this vision of going home, eating it, sitting outside on my balcony, and really enjoying it like a nice summer day in San Francisco, eating this beautiful lobster roll, looking out over the bay, on into like trying to avoid looking at Oakland because nobody wants to do that, but enjoying the beautiful ambiance of San Francisco. That's kind of the memory I had from the last time I had lobster roll. This was not bad. And in itself is not a terrible sandwich, but managing expectations. And I think some of the teams, every team comes in thinking they're going to be the champion of the division. And we're starting to see some teams sort of fall out of the playoff picture, which we'll discuss here in the show. But, hold on, quick question here. Was it... I'm doing my thing! Hold on, was this man that sold the lobster roll? No, I would never buy a lobster roll from Brett Callender. Yes, man. So, my point is, look, for those teams, remember, it's okay not to do an awesome lobster roll. It's okay to give only a partial amount of food poisoning to your Division 3 host. But we get like a close-up of like lobster's only in season a few months a year. Exactly. But honestly, listen, teams are out of it, come out this week, show learn what you can. We go for next season, we look forward to seeing you. But this podcast is going to be about some of the more relevant teams that are involved heavily in the playoff picture. I'm impressed that you reeled that back. And slammed a bunch of teams on the way there. Absolutely, yeah, it's okay. Don't worry, I've been to Subway sandwich a couple of times. So the first game I want to talk about, Jim, was the game. Sometimes you get 12-inch, sometimes you don't get 6-inch. I want to talk about the game between Warhawks and Backyard Bullies. Warhawks finally got dethroned. I've noticed an interesting story about, but they were chanting before the game. I feel like you're writing your own karma when you're chanting that you're undefeated before your game starts. Yeah, good luck. Yeah, you learn what happens to you. And in that case, it showed that Warhawks, with a strong caliber team, lost when they finally faced decent competition, like teams that were on par with them.
Absolutely.
Will Hurst icing this game out. They took out the clock. 21-0 half for Backyard Bullies. They didn't score in the second half, but were able to keep Warhawks off the board
but
enough.
I kind of feel that plays into the Backyard Bullies' strength, as their defense really is a unit that holds teams down, that keeps their offense in games. And that's what
I was astounded. I took a closer look at this defense, and seeing the amount of interceptions spread across the Backyard Bullies is astonishing, and it is just testament to how close they keep games, and even more than that, how they keep their opponents from scoring and just creating more scoring opportunities for that Rich Humes and that offense.
Will Hurst catching 3 balls and 2 touchdowns out of it. Were you surprised to see him have such an impact on the offensive side of the ball?
I think so. I'm very happy to see him have this sort of numbers, and I find it also interesting because it's the first time his play backs up his talk.
Yeah, I was going to say, do you think he's still angry about it for no reason?
That being said, it was exactly what this team needed to get ahead and stay ahead, and you want more of that on your team.
There were a couple of severe overthrows and underthrows. Laurent Ladouceur was open in the middle of the field a couple of times, only to see the ball harmlessly hit the ground after Fred Millette underthrew him by 5 yards or just put too much on it. Ladouceur's been a kind of guy to take over a game on his own. What do you think the issue was between quarterback and his typical BFF?
He can only take over the game if he's getting the ball, if the ball is reaching its way to him. If it's not, there's really not much he can do. So that does fall on the shoulders of Fred Millette, who, if you're having a bad day and need your playmakers to take the game for you, that's fine. It happens to everyone. However, you have to make sure they have the tools necessary to do it.
By the way, for the Backyard Bullies, they won by 2 points against the Warhawks. They're 6-1 when games are decided by 7 points or less.
I was in one of those games. It was not fun. But enough about Backyard Bullies. Is this the script to beating the Warhawks?
Having them
Score
chant
less
that
points
they're-
than you.
Yeah, score less points than you and chant that they're undefeated.
No,
before
but
a game.
playing a low-scoring game, playing a game where you get out hot early and really force their hand and force them to be uncomfortable.
I think so, because it's not a situation that the Warhawks have ever seen themselves in throughout the duration of the season. So it's definitely putting them outside of their comfort zone and seeing how they handle that pressure and work their way around it. The closest they even came to it was the Alpha Tees game, and that was against a team that lacked a sort of FPF experience and ensemble.
Who are going to be awesome.
Who are going to be awesome, absolutely.
They're to me, like,
But we could just
honestly,
imagine how much damage they could do if they had more experience, and just testament to show that Warhawks almost lost a game to an inexperienced FPF team.
GM, you've made fun of my transitions in the past, and this is going to be a terrible one. Prior to getting to this show and really starting it, you said, "Let's talk about this game." What game was that?
The game that I was talking about, had a chance to sit down with Derek Fontana of DG Goons. They played Pardon My Swag. Steve Sanner out. Eddie Martinez in, paying dividends.
Steve Sanner I spoke to him this week. He is actually just a sub for DG Goons.
That being said, it doesn't look like either of them might make playoffs for this team. However, even if this team does make it into the playoffs, Chris Pendenza, though, looked very, very confident, was looking off his receivers, calling those short routes, throwing the deep route, really keeping the PMS defense guessing. And on the other end of the ball, the DG Goons noticed a bit more of a late release in Brad Evans' passes. We're starting to jump a lot of routes, and it played out really, really well for them.
Chris Pendenza, he's known for throwing a deep ball. However, in the second half of the season, he's been better. What adjustments do you think he's got to make in his game in order for DG Goons to be competitive in future seasons?
Still stay comfortable with the guys you have. They've made a transition from a bunch of players who they didn't have last season who were experienced to bringing in new guys, and it was just about that learning equivalent on both sides, both for those new receivers coming in and for him to try and get on the same pace as them.
And just to further elaborate, I've scored a few of their games here for DG Goons. I think just to go off GM's point, having more of a consistent lineup. You look at the winter season and seasons past, you had those consistent lineups, but this summer it's been, hey, 2 guys are coming in, 2 guys are out, 3 guys are in, 4 guys are out. Need to get more consistent faces out there to have that chemistry develop.
For Pardon My Swag, seeing them struggle this season, we've said every week almost how Brad Evans kind of has to rebuild the team from scratch every season. What do you think to him is the core? Like, what is what he has to build around? What are the pieces?
So, I think looking at it right now, without a doubt, it's going to be Pat Pilote. It's going to be Ollie Dussault. His brother Ryan, at times, sometimes he plays a full season. Sometimes he does not. Also in that depth, they have Brian Joseph. They have Gary Bloomfield, who they play with on occasion as well. I think it might take stepping up to to say Division 4, but being able to load a team with your preferred core of players.
That's fair. I think actually there's some guys in this league that I say, you know what? Yes, you might not be the top end quarterback, but if you surround yourself with better players, it'll push your level higher.
Look at how Neil Ettinson has evolved as a QB from Division 5 to Division 4 to Division B now, considering the Division 3 to Division B.
No one thought that Neil would even, would have a chance in Division B. And in Bearskins are contention for the top spot in their subdivision. And on top of that, they're playing without their best player, without Sasha Papic. So just to say, that kind of thing can happen. If you surround yourself with the right players, you can move up, you can you can learn, you can take what you can week after week and develop much quicker. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to talk about the division standings as they are and some of the playoff scenarios that we expect heading forward.
Calling the Audible has been brought to you by the English Montreal School Board's DEAL program. Distance education for all learners will allow you to obtain your high school diploma or prerequisites for CEGEP or vocational studies from the comfort of your own home. It's never too late to go back to school. Learn anywhere at your own pace and get your diploma. Call 514-788-5937 for information or visit www.distanceed.ca for more details.
Welcome back, everyone. This is Calling the Audible. We are in the Sportera cage where, if it's in the game, it's in the cage. Remember that if you have not yet got your jerseys, or if your jerseys suck, the best place to get them, of course, is FPF's official uniform supplier here at Sportera. Remember, it's never too early to order. To my right, I have my co-host, Jim Kalethris. Of course, you can tweet him at GMCole44, owner of many fine uniforms himself. The technical director for our show is the Eagle at Master Control. He's making sure we don't swear on the air. To our left, we have the producer, Mo Khan himself, who is going to help us break down some of the playoff scenarios as he'll have some of the matchups queued up. We won't make any picks just yet, as we will pick all the games right before the end of the show. GM, I can't believe I'm going to say this, but formerly teamless, leading the division, leading Conference A with 16 points, just ahead of 5-star prospects, just over the oddly third place Hot Boys Hotline. Crimson Tide at 4. Tyrants, they're at the 5 seed. Bronx Bombers at 6.
All those teams locked in?
All of them, absolutely, all of them have clinched. Now, the two teams currently in the playoffs are Global Gym Purple Cobras, the Diablos. Show Me Your TDs are just outside looking in. DG Goons on the outside looking in as well. Hooligans, Part of My Swag, and Wolfpack, all the teams still alive in Conference A. Are you surprised, GM, firstly, by the teams that have sort of locked the playoff spot with so few wins?
It's been an odd season. It's really come down to, especially in Conference A, it's come down to those divisional games right now. It's been really rough for the teams like Show Me Your TDs, DG Goons, and Hooligans, Pardon My Swag, and Wolfpack. I won't count them in that sort of running right now, but Show Me Your TDs and DG Goons had a lot of games that were close but didn't swing the right way for them, and they were high playoff contention games, which ultimately cost them their fate, I think. I think we're going to see a lot of the status quo here. I see the 7 Global Gym Purple Cobras and Diablos both at 8 points right now. I think it's going to be enough to springboard them into the playoffs.
So let's look at some of the tiebreakers, though, because it's a clunky, sort of awkward division. Global Gym Purple Cobras, they're 4-0 in the division. They pretty much have most of the tiebreakers. Diablos have lost to Show Me Your TDs. Show Me Your TDs have beaten DG Goons. Hooligans are over Part of My Swag due to tiebreaker as well. But Part of My Swag has beat Show Me Your TDs. So given those, given some of those scenarios, Mo, can you sort of help guide us through these waters with some of the matchups ahead?
I guess I'll let Mo piggyback on it as well and probably do a better job than I will.
Which is why I asked Mo. Okay. That's why it went directly to Mo. Went to the source. But go ahead, GM.
If Global Gym Purple Cobras and Diablos both win, it's over for the other teams.
Absolutely.
However,
Win
if
or
they
tie.
lose...
Win or tie by those two teams that occupy playoff spots, they will clinch a playoff spot officially. However, when you look at the teams on the outside looking in here, Show Me T's, DG Goons, Hooligans, Part of My Swag, and Wolfpack. Wolfpack has the least likely scenario of qualifying because they only have 2 wins. And they are still alive, according to the mathematics given by Simon Dagenet, which makes no sense.
Yeah. That's fair. That's fair. And in Conference B, we have Backyard Bullies leading the way, coming off a huge win against the Warhawks. That puts the Warhawks down to 3rd place. Les Affreux, of course, over them, as they are their conference, the subdivision's leader. D's Nuts at 4th place. The Gotham Knights in 5th. Jagerbomb at 6th. PZ's new love, right under PZ's former love. The Alpha T's at 7. Tomahawk Nightmare, they close up the playoff picture for the moment. Right now, only top 6 teams have it locked, so Alpha T's and Tomahawk Nightmare still have not clinched. Junkyard Dogs are at 9, despite having a tough start to the season. Same with Les Aigles, but we have 3 teams that haven't been eliminated. Roman Egos, Sticky Hands, Blue Devils. Thank you. We'll see you next season.
Just want to add something in to clarify of the Conference A stuff.
We're talking about Conference B.
I know.
Stop living in the past.
Global Gym Purple Cobras, the only way for them to get eliminated is if Hooligans win and they end up with a tie with the Global Gym Purple Cobras, in which case the head-to-head Global Gym will fall out of that tie break. Any other combination that there's a 3-way tie,
that's highly unlikely.
Yeah, exactly.
There's 3 other scenarios, and there's 3 other teams that need to win to make that happen.
Exactly. So Global Gym Purple Cobras are likely in at that point.
Just to elaborate on your Tomahawk Nightmare, they're in the 8th spot. Remember, Junkyard Dogs hold a tiebreaker on them. So if Junkyard Dogs were to win and Tomahawk were to lose, they would jump them for
provided that Alpha T's also don't lose, because Alpha T's currently stand at 8 points as well. So that can go. That can be a three-way tie. In which case, while Junkyard, if that were to happen, Junkyard Dogs would move up anyway because they would have 2 division wins, 2 Tomahawk Nightmares, 1. So basically, Tomahawks got a lot of pressure in there, and despite being ahead by a game, there's a lot of pressure on them to stay ahead.
And remember, Dave Santoma was the quarterback. Not too sure if JF Marquis is back this week. If he is back, if not, maybe next week if they qualify for playoffs.
Do you think Les Aigles have a chance to get in here?
I think that they're the team more likely than Junkyard Dogs to springboard in. It'll come down to, like Mo said, whether or not Tomahawk Nightmare have their starting quarterback, because I think that the Alpha T's are still full of surprises right now. So if a team falls out, it's going to be Tomahawk Nightmare with Les Aigles jumping in.
So without further ado, let's make some predictions, and of course that'll have a huge impact on some of these playoff races as well, and that sort of, as we extrapolate it, will let people know what we think will happen, how the division will.
It's going to be a fun one as well, just seeing how fierce teams come towards the end stretch of the season, if they're able even to form a team to stay competitive, or if they just make it a wash.
Honestly, I hope all the teams show up. It really sucks to show up to the field and not see the opposition out there. So what I'll do is, GM, I'll announce the game. I won't make my pick, as it will be in my habitually late article.
It'll be the first round by then.
Yeah, exactly. I'll be back from Hawaii. Mokan,
still sooner than GM's articles.
Almost true. Although I've been the worst for a couple of seasons now. No one's giving me any flack.
Ray Starwar.
Thank you, the listeners.
Ray Starwar could give a good run first.
I think I'm still waiting for Ray's last article. Mokan, if you have any input on any of these games, feel free to chime in. But GM, without further ado, Les Affreux take on Jagerbomb in one of what I think will be one of the most exciting games of the week. What do you think is going to happen?
It will be a very, very exciting game. I actually think that Les Affreux stand a solid chance on this. We've noted that Simon Duchesne, when he's up against a very, very competent rusher, a rusher who can get under his skin,
like Daniel Belfoy,
that's when the wheels can fall apart. And Daniel Belfoy is the perfect player to match up against Simon Duchesne. So I will go with Les Affreux on this one.
Diablos against DG Goons. Tough one.
It's a tough one, but I think in the end, Diablos are strong enough and resilient enough that they're going to figure out DG Goons. It's really going to it's going to have to force DG Goons to play outside their comfort zone, because even if DG Goons start doing well, they have that option where they put the quarterback switch, put Louis Bégin behind center, and that sort of changes the game around for them as well at that point.
In the game between the most underperforming team in the division, Show Me Your TDs, against perhaps the most surprising overperforming team in 5-star prospects, who do you think will win?
I feel like this is a trap game for 5-star prospects. I'm really intrigued, actually. I think this is definitely a game to watch, as I actually think that Shomu TDs are going to win this one. I think there's a great defense on the Shomu TD side, solid physical rush, and a competent offense. I think that's going to be enough to give Shomu TDs the game here.
Wolfpack
I can't believe I just said that.
Weird, right? Wolfpack against Hooligans.
I'm going to go with Wolfpack on this one. Whether it's Jakub Telemak throwing or if it's JC Mersil throwing, since it's obviously not going to be Terry Tam. I think that of these two teams, both teams don't really care, but Hooligans care less. So I'm going to go with Wolfpack on this one.
Do you think that their mothers would even show up to watch this game? Maybe.
If it was Mother's Day.
Mokan, Crimson Tide take on formerly teamless, currently winning.
Well, formerly teamless again. A team I helped.
Speaking of your pick, do it.
Remember, Crimson Tide is in the 3-8 battle for 4, 5, and 6. If they win, they could very well likely be the 4 seed in the playoffs here. Give me formerly teamless.
All right. Part of my swag take on Global Gym Purple Cobras.
These two teams have actually faced off in a preseason matchup. I watched it. It was a pretty entertaining game. I'm going to go with Global Gym Purple Cobras because that's the team that won the first time.
Bromigos against Junkyard Dogs.
I really don't know. Will Bromigos even field the team?
We hope so.
Yeah, so
They're
just
experienced guys.
On class and benefit of the doubt, I'm going to give it to Junkyard Dogs.
And you know what? Bromigos, they are a classy group, and they've played with Simon Dashny, so you know they've had losing seasons. So I think...
And they did call it. They were searching for players on the Facebook group and everything.
So they're trying.
They called it an early 2 thing. Guys, we're not going to make it. So
Fair.
if you don't want to show up, don't show up and everything. So at least.
Oh, is it official though? They're not showing up?
No, I'm talking about for last week against.
Oh, for last week. Okay. Well, hopefully it turns around for this week. They did make the effort to field the team last week. The Godham Knights against the Alpha T's.
This one's interesting because on paper you would say Gotham Knights, how they've been playing the last few games, their defense has been stellar and on point. There's still a lot to see from the Alpha T's though, so I'm going to give them the chip on your shoulder GM's pick of the week here.
Cool, I like it. Bronx Bombers against Hot Boys Hotline.
I've been very high on Bronx Bombers, and I feel like they've been losing the past few games that I saw them have the possibility to win, and we're really in contention too. But a struggling offense, 2 struggling offenses against 2 stout defenses. Experience is telling me to give it to Bronx Bombers, even though my heart's been broken before.
Fair. Tyrants against the Blue Devils.
Tyrants right now. Blue Devils haven't been enough. I'm sorry to say that they're going to end in a losing season, a winless season, but Tyrants can do it on this one.
Sticky Hands against Les Aigles.
Again, this might come down to the team that cares the least losing this one. I think.
Well, Les Aigles are still alive in it.
I think they're still alive. Les Aigles, they've been inconsistent throughout the weeks, but I would give it to Les Aigles over Sticky Hands. Warhawks
take on These Nuts.
I'm really intrigued because I said early on that if there was a team that would beat Warhawks, it would be These Nuts. We would come at the end of the. These Nuts would come at the end of the season. That being said, they just coming off a losing game, they will come in a little bit more focused. However, I know that These Nuts will also be fired up, and I'm tempted to go with These Nuts in this game.
Let's hope These Nuts don't blow it.
Make sure to not vote for These Nuts for Game of the Week.
Backyard Bullies take on Tomahawk Nightmare in the final game of the week.
I don't know if it would even matter if JF Marquis is quarterbacking or not. I'm going to give it to Backyard Bullies on this one.
It would definitely be a tough one. That's kind of how I think that the playoff picture will fall. I think that we'll see Tomahawk Nightmare sort of fall out of it because they needed to win a couple of games while JF Marquis was away because this is absolutely one of the most difficult games on their schedule. GM, it is time for you to go out of bounds. We have a few made-up topics that we're going to make real by talking about them on the show from my article. So, without further wait, let's get right into it. Let's talk about... Okay, so let's give, first of all, some background. There's this Japanese fire doll. If you bend her over, she's got a superpower. This is a real thing. If you bend her over on her sort of hands forward, legs backward, with her rear in the sky, you can light it on fire and it sort of spews out like a firework. Do you think there's a demand for this in Montreal for this kind of doll?
The answer is always yes.
It's a real doll, by the way. It actually exists. I'll send you the video later.
Rule 34. I mean, if you can think it up, it exists. No.
No, okay.
Somebody's gonna get really drunk on July the 1st and make love to an animatronic firework doll, and that's bad. And I feel like Duke going off on a tangent like this right now.
I was going to say, your brother probably bought a couple of them.
Absolutely. Mokan, Jason Pierre-Paul lost a finger due to fireworks. Do you think it was actually a Japanese fire doll?
Unfortunately, no. I think it was an accident on his part, and as a result, he lost his finger. And
I think it was a Japanese fire doll. I'm going to go ahead and say it.
Mo's bringing the solemn to the show right now.
Okay, I'm not doing it. In McGill Metro, there has been an abandoned bucket that has been there for 3 months at least. So, A, do you think it will ever be removed? And B, if it was an art exhibit, what would you call it?
The apathy of the general public, or the apathy of the STM employees, where no one really wants to pick it up and move it. I think that's what I would title the exposition. Look how long we can keep this object in the middle of a public area that's highly trafficked and no one's going to give a damn.
I think it's picking up water dripping from the ceiling, so I'd call it renovations due.
Mokan, what are 3 things you've thrown in the bucket in the past couple of months?
I put soap in a bucket. I have poured water in a bucket.
Playoff hopes?
And I have put, actually, you know what? I have put peat moss and earth in a bucket last week.
A hardworking Mokan. GM, why don't our parents listen when we give them directions? I was coming back from Brossard with my dad, and I told him, all right, so we need to go back because I have my girlfriend's dad coming over making dinner. He said, no problem. And then I said, well, you should turn here because this is how I get back from the games each week. Didn't listen. We at one point were equidistant from Vermont and my house. So why don't they listen?
It's really funny because I have a tangential story as well, where I had a baseball game, and my girlfriend Kate was having dinner at my parents' house. I left early, and she was set to meet me, and she'd never been to the park before. So before I left, I told her, my dad's going to give you directions, and he's going to give you these directions. He's going to tell you to turn here. That's a bad idea. Do this instead, or follow your GPS, because otherwise you'll be adding 3 minutes to your drive unnecessarily when it's a 2-minute drive in the first place. Okay. So just on that same topic, it's amazing. I think it just comes down to being stuck in your ways and not really wanting to deviate.
Is this the part of the show where we say hi to Mom?
Yeah, hi, Mom. I'm sure she's still listening. How many viewers or listeners do we have?
We have 4 live viewers
Hi, Mom.
right now.
So we lost my mom. I just wanted to this is the time of the year where I tend to go for one a lot because we run on our shows a little bit. So this week I am going for one. I want to remind everyone to check the website when finding out when your games are and where they are, because this week all our games will be at Brossard. None of our games will be taking place at Lachine. So even if you play on Sunday, make sure that you go to Brossard. If you don't, you're dumb, because I warned you. Final thoughts, GM.
Don't be dumb.
Don't be dumb. MK.
Not much to say right now. Can't wait for playoffs.
I was hoping you just said don't be dumb and could have just said it like that.
Eagle, don't be dumb? All right, that's good. Thank you, GM, for all the great work. I will be out of town for next week's podcast, so I imagine you will help carry the fort. Is that a thing? You'll
Hold
help
down the
carry the fort.
Carry the load, hold down
Nope,
the
you're going to carry the fort. Eagle, help him carry the fort. The fort is heavy. Thank you, MK, for all the marvelous production work. Thank you, GM's mom, for being our best fan and tuning in each week. Thank you, Rob Campana, for slumming it with us this week, making sure I don't swear on the air. It's tough. It's a struggle each week. But most of all, I want to thank you all for letting me be myself.